If I told you the things I've seen on my ways, if I told you the things I've done in my days, you wouldn't believe me anyway. So it's best I just don't say. I've lived 1,000 lives, I've piloted 1,000 souls, I killed and fought and died just for a single role.
Hello. Right? We're on? Hi.
We are.
Welcome. Sorry.
Yeah.
Clara needs excess fuckery. It's quite all right.
Wait, was that on?
Huh?
Yeah, that's why I was
Parts
like,
of it were. Yeah.
Oh,
on.
beautiful.
It's really okay.
Hi, I'm a mess.
Hey, this is an Adam GM'd game, so they're going to be expecting fuckery. It's quite all
Rob's
right.
already hiding. As
I'm
you're
Yeah.
already
watching the
considering
stream.
playing
Yeah.
an awkward
Oh.
character who
Yes.
doesn't understand how
Yeah.
humans work. So.
Yes.
Rob,
Yeah.
this way a little bit.
What?
I think Claire sat down and you
Oh.
went, shoo. Thank you. Okay, we're good. No,
Get
now you're
closer. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Adam, and I am your storyteller. And this is the Clockwise Court, or Changeling the Dreaming 20th Anniversary Edition actual play. I have some players. We don't have characters yet, but we do have players. No, let's start with them. That one. This one right here.
I'm Rob.
Yeah.
Shut up, Doug.
I should name my character Doug. No, I won't do that. I
That'd be
will
amazing,
never do
yeah.
that again, apparently. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Hi.
Shut up, Doug.
Sorry.
Shut up, Doug.
Rob. Yes, this is Rob. And
Oh,
yeah.
I keep waiting for more. Like,
No,
I know we don't have
Yeah.
anything else. Yeah, we're just telling our names. Just
I'm
our names.
Clara, and these are the new headphones I was given for Christmas that I get to wear for this game.
Yeah.
And
Yes, elf
they're
ears.
For the 90, bajillion
Yeah.
percent, I don't know how much. I'm making stuff up.
Yeah.
They're adorable little
They
elf
are.
ears. They're really cute.
Oh yeah, the people who listen to us and
Yeah.
don't watch. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which are
Yeah.
a
The
lot.
majority.
More,
Yeah.
I listen.
Yeah,
to
right?
Majority.
It's crazy.
And
And this-
Gina.
Yay!
Yay! Still Gina.
So we do have a fourth player. That's Jim. He could make it tonight. He's going to be there's Jim, Invisible Jim. So he's going to be following along from home. So and we'll have input from him, and we will work him in. But I already kind of know what. Yeah, I already kind of know what his character is. But yeah, so we are playing Changeling the Dreaming 20th Anniversary Edition.
Written by Johann Gutenberg.
Yes.
That shit's a Bible.
Clearly,
It is.
look at this goddamn book. It is like 2 inches thick. Like, seriously,
Oh, that's
it's
2
ridiculous.
inches? Oh.
I've been lied to my whole life.
Yes.
I'm
I've lied
sorry.
to my wife.
In the words of Rob's wife, this is 6 inches long.
I'm happy that I'm average.
20 minutes in, 4 minutes, 41 seconds.
Yes, yes.
For the
yeah.
dick jokes.
Exactly.
We started with
I know. Is introducing Rob a dick joke?
Yeah.
No, it was just a tiny penis joke.
Oh my God!
I think
I'm
it's
so excited about
redundant.
us.
is what it
Redundant,
is.
yes, right. Okay, so tonight is session 0. We're just going to be making characters. We're going to be world building. For those who haven't played World of Darkness before, it can be a fairly complicated character creation process. It's not difficult. Here's a character sheet.
Thank
Claire.
you.
It's not difficult. It's just you gotta think about stuff. It's you're placing things in points and all that. So we're gonna kind of walk through this. I have, for those following along at home, I kind of asked everybody to sort of come up with concept. So I think everybody has a sort of general concept. But then we're going to actually go through the character creation process, and we'll do a little world building, and we will sort of create our setting here.
Really quickly,
Yes.
before we get too far into it,
Mm-hmm.
your take on Changeling the Dreaming 20th anniversary, are you a literal by the book, this is exactly what the book says, or more of a I prefer the flow of the story kind of GM when it comes to Changeling?
That is a great question. Welcome to Adam Plays Changeling like PBTA.
Is it like Jason plays D&D?
Kind of like how Jason plays D&D. Yes.
Okay, I'm out.
Yeah. No, I do like the rules. I do like the system for White Wolf. I like the original, and I like a lot of the things that they've done on it. And I think, to me, one of the things that I appreciated about this was when they came out with the 20th anniversary edition. I played 20th anniversary Vampire Dark Ages, and it was like, oh my God, they fixed so much that was wrong with the original system without making it a whole new like fluffy vampires kind of thing. I love the Chronicles of Darkness setting. I think Chronicles of Darkness is great when you're just playing mortals. I think it's a great system for mortals. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big fan of the setting books and all the different
splats.
Yeah, the different splats. Yeah.
Okay.
So God bless Tappy. Yeah.
I don't know if he'd accept it.
Yeah, probably not. But yeah, Cain blessed Happy. But yeah, I really so my past with Changeling. So I grew up playing D&D, and then in college, I started getting to play the White Wolf games that were coming out around that same time. So Changeling came out, and my big group was my big World of Darkness group. Nobody really wanted to run it. And I wanted to play this game so bad because when it came out, it was only like a third of this.
Okay.
Yeah. So they put like 5 books into this new edition.
Gotcha.
So there are like tons of different source books that they folded into this edition. But it was a normal size White Wolf book when it came out, and I loved the setting. I loved the lore. I loved I loved everything about it. And nobody was going to run it. So I ran it for my group, and it was really my first time running other than like my 12-year-old dungeon crawls that I had done.
Meaning when you were 12.
Yes, meaning when I was 12, yes.
That they spent 12 years in a dungeon.
Yes.
That would
could also be true.
It could.
Could
That's why
also
I
be
thought I'd
12-year-olds in a dungeon.
Yup. Cool.
Yes. All this checks out.
I'm just impressed by anything that lasted 12 years without having a tabletop game, considering.
Oh, no, I mean, when I was 12 years old,
Yeah.
I dungeon crawled.
Yeah.
I did not dungeon crawl for 12 years, oh God. And to be honest, like, I haven't done crunchy games in a while, and to me, White Wolf is still pretty crunchy.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because it is very much about points. I will say, I am very... So here's kind of the thing with me.
Okay.
I'm gonna talk a lot today about how I'm going to GM this game, because not only do I want I want you guys to know how I plan to run things, but also I want the audience and anybody knowing like I'm not going to run this like strict by the book kind of thing. So one of the things that is going to kind of happen is I'm not going to roll a lot. So there are not going to be a lot of opposed rolls.
Okay.
So with NPCs.
Okay.
When you're rolling against each other, yes, you will have opposed rolls. But when you're rolling against NPCs, I'm going to turn most opposed rolls into a target number kind of thing.
Cool. Okay.
So yeah. So if I don't, what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to set up pools for NPCs, and they will have a primary, secondary, and tertiary pool. And so, so like if they're primarily a physical character, I'm gonna roll. I haven't decided on the numbers yet. I gotta do some crunching still. But I'm probably gonna, for a physical character, I'm probably gonna roll like 8 dice when they do something physical, and then their next is mental, so I will do like 5 dice for that, then 3 dice for. So I'm going to come up with a range there so that I don't have to do a fucking character sheet on every damn NPC that we come up with, right?
Why don't you care about us?
Because I don't.
Okay.
You do. Wow.
You're here to amuse me, Rob.
That's
I think it's because he cares about us.
I care about Clara and Gina and Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Story checks out.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Gotcha.
I adore you. I'm so glad we finally get to be in a campaign together.
You say that
yeah.
at session 0.
I know, right? Yeah, this is actually my first time GMing for all of you except for like one-shots. So, yeah. So I think I've GM'd one-shots for each of you. But yeah, and I've been in campaigns with all of you. Well, no, not Rob or Jim. Yeah, so, yeah. But anyway, but I think enough of you have like been in one shots of mine. You kind of know how I roll, and pretty loosey goosey. And I am very much about if you can explain to me why it makes sense, then absolutely you can do that thing, even if it's not in your character sheet. So I'm also a big fan, and this is one of my things that I love about White Wolf is experience points will not be the only way you will get dots on your character sheets.
Okay.
So if you find something awesome or you make friends with somebody through role playing, you are likely to get a dot or a set of dots to represent that actual thing that was established in role play or in story play. So and we're also going to, like, you'll see during character creation, like, we're going to go through the normal points buying and all of that. But when you tell me certain things, I'm about like your character, about your backstory, I'm probably going to give you extra dots in a thing for that. So I don't want to have you kind of like aiming for it, but
like in a clumsy way.
But yeah.
But narratively, you dig that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if if we're world building, like, right? Okay. So we get to the relationships. And and it's like, maybe my dad was a lab assistant for your dad, like, okay, well, maybe you have more of a science background. Why don't you take a science point? So I like to award little extra points, and this is part of my thing with the White Wolf games, is that they're designed to basically be a normal human, and then you add the supernatural template over normal human stats. I like to give better than that,
Okay.
And mainly, especially with abilities, so talents and skills and knowledges. So what I find very frustrating is the idea that, like, you can't there are certain things that get ignored in character creation in a lot of games, and to me, one of those things is the idea that people can focus on multiple things through their life.
Okay.
Like when you're in high school, yes, most people are either band or sports, but there are some people who play band and sports. Who go both ways. Yes, so there is no reason, like, those people can be just as talented and just as successful in both of those realms. Like, if you play in band, you may not do all of the sports, but that doesn't mean you can't have athletics because you know how to perform for an instrument. You know what I mean?
I probably would be correct in saying this, because we have our fourth player is engaging us on the internets. And if a person built a character that was way into court intrigue and politics and that sort of thing, I'm sure that would be in our game.
Yeah.
Is that a game you'd like to see anyway, or just like you're going to take a look at what we are kind of digging on our character and then just?
Yeah, that's going to kind of come out organically. I have a general story hook that's ready to go that you guys can follow if you so choose and if you so like it.
Cool.
And I may nudge you in that direction if things, if you guys don't seem to come up with a specific thing.
Okay.
But it's not going to be the case that, like, oh, you guys just spent 10 sessions ignoring this plot hook that I came up with, and now it comes to a head and you all die because you know.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
I'd be super into
I
it.
mean,
Yeah. Could happen.
I'm here for what we faffed about while, like, the world ended.
Right? Yeah. So
Monster Hearts.
I want you guys to feel like you're part of talent. You're part of a story. That there's a reason these 4 characters are together, and there's something important about the togetherness of them.
But if somebody, because if somebody built or wanted to play a she, which I think I'm pronouncing correctly,
yes,
then we are going to end up with a lot more. Probably,
exactly, Okay. So, and I don't believe anybody is playing a she, but
I don't think we expressed that.
So, and Jim, correct me from the great interwebs if I'm incorrect, but Jim is going to be playing a Pisky.
I believe that is true.
So, and kind of a little bit of a prankstery vibe with some science-ness involved, which is kind of awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we'll let him talk about that later.
Yeah.
And Jim, if you want to,
Pisky, right? Yeah.
Pisky.
Everybody wants to say Pixie always, but it's
Pisky. If anybody says Pixie, I'm totally fine with that. It's really okay.
I think you should find them a dot.
Right? Yeah.
I don't know. No, not really. I know.
Right. And then Claire, you had a
exactly.
Yeah, you have a.
I really wanted to play a troll. And I was like, it'd be funny to be like a troll who was in cybersecurity. And then I remembered I just finished playing a blue-skinned character who was also the chief of security in a different game. And I got really mad at myself. So I still want to do it because I just want to be Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, part of me as I was driving here was like, it would be also very funny to be a puka whose other form happened to be a seal.
Pukas are awesome.
So your face is going to have like that disease?
Just to be,
Oh, okay.
Selkie.
Yeah, okay.
Because Gina's like, I want to be a Selkie. And I was like, all right, you can be a Selkie.
We can both be Selkies. How awesome.
Nah, it's okay.
Team Selkie.
I'm a mermaid like 90% of the time, so I'm okay like role-playing a character for once. So I think I'm going to stick with a troll. And
the troll.
Lean into it. In my world, trolls are not blue.
Yeah, they do not have to be. We can totally, we can make trolls whatever color we want. Yes.
Yeah, that was the weird sticking point for me. I was like, I was rereading it and I was like, cool, because we had just finished Star Trek, and I was like, I'm super excited to move on to a completely new character that's unlike anything I've ever done before.
Yeah.
Which is just like the character that you just...
a blue-skinned badass doing security. Oh, yeah, totally different.
We're going to find a way to jump onto a moving ship and everything.
Right? Yeah.
So you were going to be an internet troll.
I am an internet troll.
Yeah.
I'm also going to play one.
But
Oh, man.
And Gina, so Gina, you're looking at Selkie. Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, it'll be one moment.
All right. What about Rob? Rob, did you?
Yes.
You talked about a couple of things, but I don't know what you settled on.
I settled on a slaw. That's how you pronounce it, right?
Slua.
That's
I know. It'll get old. Slua.
A slua who is a police detective.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So funny enough, I thought I was going to be in City of Mist. No, that's not true.
Yeah.
So I just basically, it's funny. He's like almost like a noir detective.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like very like. I mean, like think of any kind of pulp detective.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like the vibe that he goes with because they like antique clothing, and so he's always got like that old fedora on and the trench coat.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of rainy on the coast.
Yeah.
Where's the wind come from?
The water.
Everywhere,
wherever I go, the wind.
Everywhere, yeah.
It smells like
so setting wise, I did give a little bit of setting parameters, and I will tell you guys, as a GM, I do railroad certain things. There are certain times when I exercise my authority as GM, and I'm like, this thing is this, and this is what we're doing. And then other things I give you broad discretion. Like I didn't tell anybody like, hey, don't play this kind of character or whatever, you know. So I gave everybody a lot of freedom to decide what kith they're going to be. For those who don't know the system in the game very well, kith is the type of fae that you are. So everybody has a lot of freedom in like their character that they're creating. But I did make it very clear that they are all in one place and they have all known each other for quite some time, or not, not crazy time, but Did I say a specific time?
No,
I
you
think
didn't. You said a period of time.
A period of time. And that they have a certain responsibility as a group. So the setting that we're going to start in is a town called Port Estrella, or Estrella.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Estrella, but all of the Californians around,
I
a lot
live
of
in
them call it
Pedro,
Estrella.
so.
Yeah, you live in San Pedro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I'm so upset.
yeah.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, it should be Port Estrella, and we will generally call it Port Estrella.
Thank
But
you.
when I want to make it clear that somebody is obnoxious, I will say Port Estrella. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Just to backtrack a little, quick second.
Yes.
And maybe we'll go into it as we're doing character. But can we get a quick rundown? Because I just realized I cannot for the life of me remember what a slaw does or is.
Okay.
Do you want to do that later, or do you want to do that now?
Yeah. So let's. We can actually why don't we read out those descriptions in a little bit? So yeah. So we'll do that.
Can I just for
yeah.
one moment? Those of you who watch streams regularly probably know this, but Twitch chat has been jacked up for, I would say, well, at least 6 weeks now. So I've been trying to talk to y'all, and it's eating every message I'm sending you. So I apologize if I don't respond. It's not me, I swear to you. I just tried to send one message literally 20 times.
Yeah. Aw.
That's weird.
She specifically
Okay.
hates you, Saul.
So yeah.
Oh, no, not just me.
So let me just tell the rest of the parameters that I put up on the setting, and then we'll we'll talk about the kits a little bit, and we'll introduce those. So so Port Estrella is a small city of maybe about 100,000 or so.
Okay.
Still a good size.
Yeah, still
Yeah.
like decent
Yeah.
size, but small enough. Maybe a little smaller than that. We might go with more like 50,000,
Okay.
70. Anyway, somewhere in there. Small city. Enough.
But it's part of the sprawl, sort of. It's isolated, but it's
Farther,
not.
I thought it was farther,
Yeah.
like above Malibu.
So yeah, above Malibu.
Ventura.
So yeah. So for those
Okay.
who
So
aren't,
think of, like,
yeah.
Think
Oh yeah.
of,
Point Doom. Like if
or
there
Point-
was a
yeah.
city around Point Doom.
Or Carpinteria.
I was going to say
Yes.
right.
Carpinteria.
Yeah. Yeah,
Carpinteria is
but like
fine.
on the coast,
Yeah.
and it's got its own little natural harbor.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's this is a completely fictional city that we're making up. So we
Yeah.
can make it kind of whatever we want. But
Cool beans.
for those of you who are not Southern Californians, so basically we're talking about a small seaside city with a harbor, and about an hour to 2 hours outside of a major metropolitan area, which will probably just be LA. So unless you guys just for some reason want San Francisco,
Nope.
or yeah, so
Fuck that noise
yeah.
right now.
Right, yeah. It could also be between LA and San Diego if we wanted it. That
An
would
hour
be all
north
right,
of LA
but
is between LA and San Diego. Or LA and San Francisco.
I said between LA and
San
San Diego.
Diego. That's Orange County, though. We don't.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
gross.
that's gross.
there.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah.
We're not allowed there after
Ugh.
the incident.
Right, yeah.
You and I remember that very differently.
Happy Jacks has been banned from Orange County.
Friend of the show, the mayor of Orange County.
Right.
Mickey Mouse?
Yeah. So that's kind of the setting. It's a small city. It's big enough that people can get kind of lost, and you can be kind of anonymous there. But it's small enough you can know nearly everybody on your block, and know most of the people in the neighborhood.
But it's California, and people don't talk to each other.
Right, yeah.
No one talks
Except
to
Port
No.
Estrella is a little different.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah. What?
No, it's
No.
just a little more.
Port Estrella is a little different. There is something magical here. Something that people just love. And and there's a certain vibrancy to Port Estrella, and it does not so it doesn't, it almost feels like a place out of time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And yes.
Are all the buildings that Nouveau Spanish style, or are they all Nouveau Mediterranean style?
Actually, there's a great variety here. There,
like it got built up at different times?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. There's more variety to the housing in Port Estrella than any other Californian city. Yeah.
Damn.
So yeah.
Cool.
Because California cities, like, they tend to like all look alike in a lot of ways, you know, or parts of them.
That was a terrible, not a joke, but also
Yeah.
a terrible joke for anyone who grew up in Southern California and now knows how to identify a mission-style home.
Oh, yeah.
Just because
Right.
they lived next to all of them.
All of them. But yeah, there's a lot of variety here. So you'll see, like, there's like one hill that's like the San Francisco colorful townhouses, and there's another hill that's like the Mission style, and then there's those like Mediterranean cottages on the coast and all that.
Nice.
And there are some like super swanky, probably celebrity or tech billionaire houses up on the cliff. So one thing that is going to be required that we'll discuss as a group, and we'll figure it out as a group, is the four of you at some point in the past were charged with protecting a freehold here. So for those who don't know, a freehold is a place where the dreaming is just a little closer to the mortal world. And it is a place of safety and respite and magical rejuvenation for changelings. And these places are very, very rare, and they're also very powerful. So it's very important that they be protected and that they be that changelings be allowed to access them, but that they also can keep from being overrun. So they attract a lot of attention from magical sources because they are a powerful source of magic themselves. So I shouldn't say magical sources, but magical entities. Yes. So just want to make sure I'm not missing any gym comments.
Oh, I've got it.
Yeah. You got okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Let me know if Jim.
Yep, I sure will.
Yeah. Magic Mountain episode. Yeah. Totally. We can do that.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah. What if we go to Magic Mountain and record an episode?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I would be into that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's just a LARP at that point.
Right. Yeah. So, so a little bit. So, just very briefly. So, all the players, I believe you are all like at least a little bit familiar with the setting of Changeling the Dreaming. So, just for our audience, just to say a little bit, basically, Changeling or Fae come from the Fae realm or the Dreaming. So, they are actually created by the imagination, by the magic of the imagination of humans. So they are primordial, basically, from the moment the first human dreamed, the first Fae appeared, and they have been living sort of alongside or around humans since the beginning of time. And so sometime several centuries ago, the dreaming the realm of Arcadia, which was the Fae realm where they all sort of lived, basically got sealed off, and a lot of Fae souls were left stuck in the mortal realm. And what they had to do was they had to bond with humans in order to stay in the mortal realm and keep themselves magical, but not lose themselves to insanity. So, because separated from the realm of Arcadia, they couldn't really find balance. So they were in danger of being either erased as the magic left humanity, or they were in danger of succumbing fully to their Fae side that they were no longer able to interact with humanity.
Okay. I don't want to. If you're interested in moving forward, otherwise I have another question.
Yeah.
Getting your glamour back.
Yeah.
Can take a really long time. How do you see that happening in game? Is that something you're planning on playing? Because to my understanding, there's rolling involved, and then it can take up to like months.
No, that's There's a lot of ways to get glamour back, and it is glamour is kind of the currency,
like blood.
It's like blood with vampires. Yeah.
It just seems like it's
hard
a
to
lot
read.
more. It's
Yeah.
a lot more hardcore than it is blood because you don't necessarily want to be.
It seems like it,
Okay.
but we'll talk about that more. But
Cool.
We'll talk about that more when we get to the actual rules of it. But
Cool.
glamour is hard to come by. That's one of the reasons a freehold is so important, is because as you rest in a freehold, you regain glamour. So it recharges your magic, and that's one of the reasons freeholds are so coveted.
You can only get one a night, though, right?
No, there's a way to get more. There are ways
From
to
the
get
freehold?
more.
No, from other ways, yes, but
right.
from the freehold, I think you can just get one. You get in what you put in, or something. But anyway,
there are ways to charge up the freehold.
Cool.
I'll be honest with you.
Cool.
I did not read up on every part of this book. I'm like, oh my god, I remember oh god, rules. We'll look that up when I get to it. Yeah. So, because this is again, it is a 2-inch thick book, it's
Okay.
that is 2 inches.
Sure.
Whatever.
what
Rob.
he said.
So I will be honest. I don't remember all that, but no, it's not going to take you months to get back
Cool.
glamour. So glamour, if you really focus on it, like you could refill in a night if you need to. Depending on what circumstances you are, but there are ways to cultivate it. So you can have dreamers like you have herd and vampire. So and and those kinds of sources. So again, for those of you, if you're not really familiar with the World of Darkness, backgrounds are where it's at.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Okay.
Spin points and backgrounds, they really come into and I like to use backgrounds. They're cheap and they're easy. And
I was super excited because the short campaign I used, we could not use them, and I was like, damn, they're awesome.
Yeah, they're great.
I don't have a book in front of me, so I can't start perusing until we...
Yeah, do you want to take my book?
Yeah.
Or, well, actually, so I want to read this. We want to read these Kith descriptions.
Oh,
so,
cool.
yeah.
I was going to try to do it on my phone, and I was like, wow, no.
Nah.
That book is a tome.
Yeah. So, okay.
It is.
So, should I read just the 4 that we have in play, or should
sure, yeah.
and then we'll describe more as they come up if they show up in the story.
Yeah.
So okay, so first, Piskies, our beloved Jim. Piskies are an innocent, wide-eyed kith made up of natural wonders that seek the beautiful and awe-inspiring beauty of the world. Useful messengers and guides, these industrious and friendly changelings can't resist taking something they fancy, even if it doesn't belong to them. So yeah, they're kind of
Tricksy.
Tricksy. Yeah, very much like Tinkerbell.
Oh yeah.
Who are you?
Well, roguish.
Roguish. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're D&Ding.
It's
Yeah. They have
a flying.
Raccoon.
No, what's the D&D one that was like a hobbit in Dragonlance?
Halfling.
There's a better word for
Oh,
it.
Kinder.
Yes,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like Kinders. Yeah,
Kinder are
they
my spirit
can't
animal.
stop tanking. Yeah. I love
Flying
Kinder.
Kinder.
I know a lot of people didn't, but I loved Kinder.
I love Kinder.
All right. Selkies. These skin-changing Kithane straddle the worlds of land and sea, capable of slipping on a seal skin to swim the oceans, or taking off their skins to walk on land. Playful but also cautious, these attractive famous keep their sealskin pelts close by, even when in mortal form, or risk having them stolen and destroyed. And the Slua. These dark and secretive fae are the best at collecting information and guarding secrets. Sly and withdrawn, Slua are only able to speak at a whisper and loathe loud noises in losing their well-protected knowledge. And the opposite, Trolls. These powerful giants embody the loyalty, honor, and strength of the Fae. Staunch defenders and guardians, Trolls prize honor above all. Once they've given their word, they will not break it on penalty of sickness and even death. So Trolls are one of the that are most unlike what people would expect in Changeling. They are like, to me, the most. Oh my God! Sorry, my phone buzzing with every notification is killing me. The most what's the word I'm looking for? Seminal, the most iconic troll, the most iconic changeling troll that we know in pop culture is Goliath from Gargoyles.
Okay.
To me, Goliath and the other gargoyles, they act like trolls. That. Trolls in Changeling are very much the gargoyles culture in a lot of ways.
Cool.
So yeah.
As I was thinking about the character, I was like, I'm basically looking at Brienne of Tarth by way of Drax.
Yes.
That's
yeah.
Drax. I saw
Yeah.
more Drax.
Yeah, I'm
Drax.
like,
Yeah.
If you want to use a reference from this century,
yes,
Drax would be a good
a
one.
reference that anyone my age would get.
Gargoyles will never die.
No,
So
don't
it is
get me
of
wrong.
the century.
I love gargoyles.
You better.
Someone may not have been born.
Yeah. We have a millennial at the table.
Possible.
Boom.
Hold on, when did
yay.
Gargoyles?
When did it end?
It was like early 90s?
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
I was possibly
This is
alive.
your baby.
Now I'm checking. Hold on.
You were a spermatozoa.
So Clara's assignment is to watch Gargoyles because it's awesome.
To be fair, I watch a lot of
No.
film criticism, and all film critics were born 10 years before me on the internet, so they all love Gargoyles.
That's
so
true,
I know
yeah.
all of it.
Cool.
So Changeling setting has a lot of things about different houses, that these different courthouses and all of that. I don't plan to play a lot with those. I don't plan to use them a lot, if at all. Mainly because I just find them very they're, I don't know.
Are they unseelie?
They're seely and unseely.
They are.
Unseemly.
Unseemly.
This is a play on words.
Wow.
Whew.
God.
We're never going to play this game.
Kimmy, is it too
I
late
know.
to recast? Just kidding. I'm so excited to actually play with you.
Wink.
He keeps saying.
So I know, right?
He's convincing himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me read this to you. So as freeholds, as banality closes in on the remaining locations touched by the dreaming in the mortal world, locations survive that still burn bright with glamour. While enchanted forests and many glades have been destroyed, and the massive holdings of fey lords and nobles have dwindled away to nothing but memory, some places have survived. These gathering places, called freeholds, have retained enough of their original glamour to create a safe space in the autumn world. Within a freehold's walls, Cathane can gather safe from banality's touch while still keeping one foot in the mortal world. Okay. So that's what a freehold is. It's basically, it is like a little oasis of magic that protects you from, in a lot of ways it's like an airlock, between the dreaming, which is pure insanity and chaos, and the mortal world, which is pure banality and coldness. And you as fae, as changelings, have to live in between. So if you give in too much to your fae soul, then you go insane and you lose touch and you become basically a monster of the dreaming, a nightmare. If you focus too much on your mortal life, then you begin, like, your changeling self starts to fade away, and the fairy soul within you could die and disappear from imagination forever. It's a huge deal.
Source of glamour is also a pathway to the dreaming, to the other, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So freeholds usually are connected to a trod, if not multiple trods, and we will talk about that because I'm going to make sure a trod. I'll tell you right now. Spoiler alert. There is a major trod intersection in Port Estrella. Okay. And it's going to be one of the reasons that your freehold is going to be so important. Hold on.
Trod
meaning. So a trod is a path through the dreaming. Okay. So if you think about the dreaming as layers of reality, TROD, layers of reality over the mortal world. Okay. Right. So the dreaming is sort of layered in and out and through the mortal world. A trod is a path in the dreaming that they're kind of like science fiction terms. They're kind of like wormholes. So like you might be able to take a trod and walk from Port Estrella to New York City in an afternoon.
Awesome.
So because space and time work differently in magic. Yeah. So trods can be very important because they can also be ways to access the dreaming, which is where you can do all kinds of things like create magical artifacts or or magical pieces of art that become precious and become a source of grammar themselves.
Okay.
Cool.
You can grow magical fairy fruit and things like that. So so there are things that you can do in the dreaming that can't be done in the real world.
Do we want to talk about our freehold at all and the fact that we should put dots in it though?
Okay, so we're I want to do character creation first.
Okay.
Before we talk about the free. Well, I don't know. Would it help you guys to know what this freehold is going to be before you decide what your character is going to be?
No,
I feel like the opposite.
The opposite. Yeah, I wasn't sure where we were going because we were just doing a lot of.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the points.
Okay.
Because what
really?
Yeah.
In a World of Darkness game?
I know, right?
Like
Yeah.
this.
Just for the freehold.
Just for the freehold.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because
that still makes
because what I'm going to kind of do is as we start world building, as we start fleshing out Port Estrella and the freehold and your relationships, I will base decisions on I'll award points to put into the freehold. Jointly, kind of based on that.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
So yeah.
Awesome.
So if we
cool,
make
cool.
super shitty connections, we're gonna get a 1 point freehold.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So don't suck.
Yeah.
I hear this.
So yeah. So that's why I was gonna kind of save that for later and kind of do that as part of the world building.
I wasn't sure because we got off on.
I know, and I keep
Q&A.
So I'm really bad at this. When I GM, I forget that everybody can't read my mind. So there are things that I have thought about and that you don't know because I didn't fucking tell you.
Well, this is
and
super...
I'm gonna forget that you don't know these things. So yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's all good.
So
There
so
are
please ask those questions.
a ton of people out there that have not played Changeling the Dreaming.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And so it's super helpful
Yeah.
to hear a lot of this stuff, not only for us at
Or
the table, but for everybody
people
out there.
that have played
Right.
and are really good at it and haven't been able to play, so they would very much like to tell us what we're doing that might not
Wrong.
be right.
Oh,
Right, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
everything.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Everything.
Because
Well,
it is a World of Darkness game.
Yeah.
So that'll
and,
be fun.
Yeah, and I want people to know, like people who are going to, who might listen in or might be following along, like I will ignore certain rules, and I'll be like, yeah, I don't want to deal with that thing.
Cool, man.
I'll ignore setting things. I'm like, I don't fucking care about the houses.
Do you want to use my book? Because I'm going to switch the Slack to the phone, and then I have it on my iPad. So that way Madam can keep his.
Yes. So what I will be trying desperately not to do is be inconsistent. So
Good point.
So I will try to do things like, oh yeah, you know what, this role doesn't matter. I don't really want to do this. And if it comes up again, and you're like, but you said last time when we did this, it didn't matter. Theoretically, at that point, I will either say, oh, that's right, I did. Yeah, this doesn't matter. Or I will say, you know what, I think it does matter right now, and here's why. Okay. And, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
I am very much a let's talk about it GM, as opposed to a this is my way, and you don't, and I will tell you what it's going to be.
Punish you for not knowing.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
Yeah.
I love
that.
that.
Yeah. So, and I'm
Cool.
fine with like if you're like, hey, that doesn't work that doesn't work the way you said it did last time. I'm like, oh, okay, how does it work? Let's find out. Kind of,
Cool.
And I'm very open to that. One of the reasons I wanted
play is the thing.
The play is the thing, exactly. Yeah. One of the reasons I wanted to play this game is because I love the setting so much, and I also wanted to show a Happy Jacks game where the GM does not know what the fuck they're doing.
That's every Happy Jacks game.
Wait.
So, yeah, but we pretend that we do. So
Have you listened to Dave?
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
I think you have to
but
come up with a different tag.
And but the thing is, like, where the GM is learning along with the game. Sure.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
There's only a couple of those.
Yeah. No, but part of it is like when I wanted to play this game, and then I started reading through the book, and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot how like, oh my God, points and crunchy and oh Jesus and oh the houses and oh God, I'm not gonna remember half of this shit. And like, that's okay, because not everybody has to be perfectly polished when they GM. And I've had, it's really weird for me because I have like a lot of people, like our audience, especially like some of our regulars. Like I got in this discussion on, I think it was on Twitter with some of them, or forums a couple of weeks ago. And is somebody on the Facebook page, I think, was talking about how like they're running a game for the first time in a long time and they're like really like nervous about it, stressed out. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, like me every single time I run a game. And they're like, but you're so good. And I'm like, really? Like you, like I'm like, you think I'm good?
Yes, you are.
Those
You
standards.
definitely
I know,
seem
right?
like you have your shit together on
Yeah.
screen. But then I like look at your notes, which they don't exist.
Oh yeah, no, I do not have my shit together.
Yeah.
I'm very good at faking it. But I'm also like the way I
So
play.
are we.
I very much, I
Claire
very
and I
much
were like,
like to listen to the story that the players are trying to tell.
Yeah.
And wrap around to that, as opposed to trying to make you fit into my story.
Got it.
I'm very much into listening to what you guys are interested in and trying to build a story around that. And one of the challenges I find fun as a GM is, here are 4 people and you're all going to come up with different stories. And part of my job is to come up with a way to weave them together in a way that makes it fun and makes sense.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
theoretically, it's fun to listen to.
And
Well,
theoretically, yes.
Yeah,
Let's
because
hope.
I was going to say I feel like I just want to make that. I just want to have fun, and
Yeah.
I want you guys to have fun. And
Yeah,
I
exactly,
think we're
yeah.
all of the same mind about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So that will be my challenge, is to learn this game as we're playing it.
That's our challenge too.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Same though.
So yeah, I don't want anybody to go into the under the impression that like in order to run a good game, you have to, assuming this is going to be a good game, but in order to run a good game, you have to like know the rules back and forth, and you have to have read the book 5 times, and you have to know the answer to every question. You don't. Some people, like, the first time you run a game, or the first time you learn a game, is the first time you run it.
Yeah,
and,
and
you know,
Stu talks about that all the time on the
Yeah.
podcast, about how when they were younger and they would play stuff and they were like, "Oh shit, we were totally doing that wrong," and then they just started doing it the way.
yeah,
You know, or they
yeah,
don't.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
Or like, oh,
thankfully,
Yeah.
we have the internet now to tell us when we're doing it wrong
Yes.
in a much faster pace.
Thank you.
Which,
Right.
the perfect time, this is a perfect plug, you can yell at us on the
Uh-huh.
Happy Jacks forum,
Yeah.
happyjacksforum,
Please.
I'll take the lowest.
on... No, there's nowhere. It's not. That's not yet today. We haven't had that
Wait,
today.
Referring to
what?
never mind.
Yeah, I know what
Okay.
you're talking
The
about.
frame.
Also the meta thing.
Yes. The Happy Jacks
Happy-
forum, Happy Jacks Facebook page, on
Yeah.
Twitter.
yeah.
Uh,
Happy Jacks RPG, all one word, on all the social medias.
Yeah, like
In Twitch chat.
LMR, like
Twitch,
our
yeah.
recents, because
Yeah.
that helps us get a little bit of. We love having you
Traction.
guys in here too.
Yeah.
Jim says, is probably the most experienced one, who's actually not at the table right now.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jim.
Said out of all the World of Darkness, the White Wolf games, that this is the best one to play loosey goosey if you're
Yeah,
going to.
Oh,
Right.
good.
Oh,
I
cool.
totally
Yeah.
agree. Thank you, Jim. Yeah, this is, and here's the other thing. So there's a lot of shitty news lately. There's, the world can be a very dark place
Yeah,
right now.
you don't say.
Changeling is a very optimistic game,
Okay.
and to me, Changeling is about learning how to find hope and learning how to find a way to be your own magical self in a world that is constantly trying to take magic away from you and tell you that it's pointless to believe in. And as changelings, you're the bastions of imagination. You're the ones out there saying, no, magic is real, and there is still a way to have a wonderful place, and we're going to fight like hell to keep it. And so it is so optimistic compared to all the other White Wolf games, and I love it for being it's the Hufflepuff of White Wolf games, Vampires are Super Slytherin, werewolves are Gryffindor, mages are Ravenclaw, changelings are Hufflepuff.
Werewolves are Gryffindor?
Oh yeah, hold my beer and watch this while I wolf out. Oh, somebody's destroying the planet. Let's find the spirit worm and fucking kill it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I actually love werewolf too. which
So
I've also never
characters.
been able to play. So yeah, so characters.
Yes.
Okay, so enough pining about White Wolf. But if you guys have any questions about setting stuff or lore, anything, let's talk about it. Okay, so settings at the top of your character page, you have name, player, and chronicle. If you don't know your player name, I can't help you with that. Chronicle is the Clockwise court. The court is either Seelie or Unseelie. So those are the only two options. I have issues sometimes with how this setting book talks about Unseelie, because they sort of contradict themselves. They say that Seelie are all about independent thought and freedom of choice and all that stuff. But in the examples that they give, it's always the Seelie does something shitty and evil, and it's like, I don't like to play it like that. So so if you want to play it so that Unseelie are evil, like that's fine as long as you're all Seelie. So I tend to think of it as Seelie are more about the order of things. So with Seelie there is a place for everything, including chaos. Which is why, and that place for chaos is the Unseelie court, So Seelie are very orderly. They're very much about structure and traditions and whereas Unseelie I think of more as they're anarchists and they're contrarians. They're
I went with Unseelie.
Yeah. Unseelie?
What did you guys think? I'm just
I'm
because we
going
can
straight
talk about it.
Seelie because, again,
Okay.
we know where we're going with this character arc.
Yeah, security, that makes a lot of sense.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because the concept that I'm having, like, I see Unseelie the way you described it, like, as in chaotic and kind of going with its own flow, as being a lot more natural as opposed to, like, contrived order. So with that, I put Unseelie. But the way you described it as far as like anarchists and just like fuck everything.
Well, not necessarily. Like I just think of it more as like that's one of the possible options is the anarchist route.
Oh, okay.
It's not like not all Unseelie are anarchists. What were you going to say, Claire?
Well, okay, two things. One, just because I can say it right now, my favorite headcanon has always been that a group of fairies is called a court, and it just so happens they create hierarchies within them. So that accounts for Seelie, Unseelie, and then like seasonal courts, where those are in media. And that's just the thing I want to plant in everyone's mind now.
Yeah.
It just it's like a pod of whales. It's a court of fairies, and they think it's more important.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Two,
That's fine.
with the whole idea of Seelie versus non-Seelie being order and chaos. Think of it kind of like it's not inherently good or evil or anything.
Yeah.
It's natural, unnatural. Because like you could have like think about like a candle flame versus like a campfire. One is a very calm, orderly looking shape, and the other is like whoosh. So it doesn't like it's sort of how do I think you tackle problems and interact with the world rather than like
Yeah, I don't see it as morality.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
The good and or good and bad.
Yeah, so like my character
Right.
probably would like people to like shut up and listen to someone for once. And another character who would be Unseelie would probably be like, shoot first, ask questions later, like yay.
And see, like so, police detective, right? Okay, so with that concept, like Columbo to me is very Unseelie. Sorry, I know that's really old reference again, but but like Columbo's super Unseelie. Like he's kind of chaotic. He doesn't really he doesn't have the normal way of going about things. Whereas I'm trying to think of another. Who's another detective?
So Angela Lansbury.
Yeah, like
we're gonna do everything before
I was
before you were born.
Yes.
Can we do all the oldest
I'm
things
gonna,
ever?
check I'm gonna check my phone for a second.
What would
Yes.
Sherlock be? Because at least
Oh,
Sherlock.
see,
yeah.
I think
Seelie.
yes,
Yeah.
totally
Super
Seelie. Yeah,
Seelie. There you
Sherlock
go.
would be
Wait,
Seelie.
what?
Yeah.
I went with Unseelie.
No.
Oh,
I would say
oh my gosh.
Sealy.
To me, it's like all
Sherlock.
order.
Because,
and-
yeah, he'll order placement,
Okay,
like
okay.
tradition, like
Okay,
his
sorry.
whole like mind palace. It's all about like
Sorry.
perfect
What
order,
about-
so that he has that.
What
recall.
about Deckard?
So OG Sherlock.
Deckard.
Film noir.
Sealy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Like-
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think he would be on Sealy.
yeah,
I could see it.
yeah,
He's
Because
kinda
I think
see
he's
play by his own rules kind of guy.
yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go on Sealy. I'm gonna stick with it.
yeah. I think
Cool.
that works.
I know.
So Jim
I could
says.
embrace-
Jim says, one, it all depends on the leadership of the Unseelie. He says it's a POV. See it like B5, advancement through order, who you are, and advancement through conflict, what do you want? See it like B5. What does that mean?
Babylon 5.
Oh, Babylon 5. Oh, okay. Oh, gotcha.
Your privileges are revoked.
Sorry. Yeah, I was
It was
busy watching Deep
context.
Space Nine.
It was context.
See, I
Oh,
don't,
gotcha.
I don't like. I mean, I don't like the conflict aspect, but yeah. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Cool. I'll fuck
Yeah.
it. I'll see it.
And yeah, and the thing is, like, you can change. Your court can change.
shift
Yeah.
depending on what I'm more attuned
Right, yeah.
to, and
And if you get to a point as a character and you're like, I don't see myself as Unseelie anymore, and you kind of flip,
Yeah.
and and it's a way to sort of change your character's worldview. Like, your fundamental self doesn't change, but it's like, how am I going to approach the world?
correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
That
and here's
can be
the little where was my Sealy Code is the philosophy that underlies the Sealy Court. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do we got here? Death before dishonor. Love conquers all. It's
Yeah.
the greatest virtue among beauty is life. Never forget a debt. And then Unseelie. They don't have those neat little dilly bobbers.
Oh, they don't. Oh.
No, I know.
Fucking
Identity
buy his book.
identity
Yeah.
requires freedom.
Yeah.
Individuality is the core.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking edgelords.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm imagining like a teenager, like, yeah, I'm an individual. You can't box me. I'm gonna go to Hot Topic and buy all the other shit. When I was playing it.
It's weird though. That's the first sentence for Unseelie Court is the Unseelie Court is the embodiment of the icy chill of winter, combined with the bountiful harvest of autumn.
Yeah.
The court exemplifies night, culmination, and chaos. Sees itself as a liberator of individuals and eternal enemy of banality, which we don't like banality.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
most.
None of the things.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's almost like the way I see this character is almost close to true neutral. It's like riding the line of
yeah.
both.
I know.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah.
I'm
Picking
actually
and
thinking
choosing,
about
yeah.
Which is
changing.
totally fine, and you can
Unseelie-ish.
just sort of be, you can be Unseelie officially right now.
Yeah.
I'm just
But
excited to
yeah,
be put upon.
yeah, yeah. So, and Jim said, strife is part and parcel to the Unseelie and has a lot to do with how they survive the separation from the dreaming. So, yeah, and also me versus us, with the Unseelie being me focused, and the Seelie being us focused. So, yeah, but yeah, I mainly
Okay.
I don't like the idea of playing like Unseelie are evil and Seelie are good. It's not
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I think that's very simplistic and boring and completely unrealistic to Fae.
I was
to
gonna
Fae
say,
lore.
like, the truth
Yes.
is all Fae are dicks. It just
Right.
depends on what kind.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Truth.
So yeah.
I was
cool.
curious about what Jim was doing. So
Oh
we'll
yeah.
see if-
Yes. Okay, so legacies. So there are. So legacies.
Okay.
I'm gonna get to the character creation section.
156.
Yeah, it's super
and
not
Thank
helpful,
you.
by the way. Their character
156
creation,
and 158
Yeah.
for the Sealy and Unseelie.
it's
Oh,
like
cool.
you should pick something,
You should pick a thing.
and
yeah.
we are not going to mention what these
Here's
things
the-
are.
Right. Yeah.
Total.
So what you have to do is you have to realize that. So there's the character creation guide, or the cheat sheet kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And then you have to like flip to the. So that's on page 148.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Character creation chart. And then you have to like flip to the different things to actually like find out what they are.
Yeah.
So legacies, kind of think of these as like these are like personality archetypes.
Oh, okay. So like bumpkins, courtier, crafter, dandy, hermit, orchid, paladin,
Yeah.
panderer.
So in the main way, these come into play. So legacies come into play because these are how you get your willpower. Okay. So this is how you get willpower back. when you act according to your legacy, you can, you regain willpower. So you spend willpower to get, it's like a boost. So it's like spending momentum in Star Trek, or spending a Benny in Savage Worlds.
And you need both a Seelie and an Unseelie.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. You pick one or the other. So when you're feeling very Seelie-ish, then you act in your Seelie legacy. When you feel very Unseelie-ish, you act in your Unseelie legacy. So, and if you don't like anything in here, we can come up with something. Right?
One of the ways I looked at it too, once upon a time I played a short campaign of this, was that I pictured it being like that one was my mortal, sort of the legacy of my mortal life, and the other was kind of what I had become in Fae.
Yeah, you
so
can totally do that.
If it helps to think of the notes you bounce with the two different chords.
Yeah. So I'm going to read one of these just as an example. But each of them has a quest and a ban, right? So the quest is the thing that you do to regain willpower points, and the ban is a thing that you are forbidden to do. And it's not just a I don't like to do this thing. It's I literally cannot do this thing. It's I think of it almost like a compulsion.
Okay.
So let's read Panderer. I like that. So the Panderer desires nothing more than to make people happy. He works tirelessly to foster joy, whether playing matchmaker or offering a glass of water to a guest. Preferring anonymity, the Panderer considers his best accomplishments those achieved with a subtle hint here or a gentle nudge there. Onlookers who notice his efforts tend to mistake him for a doormat, catering to every whim and flight of fancy. In truth, he only desires to see bright faces brightened by smiles. So the quest is when someone achieves happiness due to your efforts but is unaware of the part you played in it, you regain willpower. And the ban is never purposefully do anything to make someone unhappy. Okay? So you can't. So if you're playing a Panderer legacy, you literally can't stop and like try to ruin someone's day.
Yeah.
Like and this is a part. To me, this is one of the things that's so interesting and alien about the Fae, and one of the reasons I love Fae lore so much is. Fae are promises like that. So here's the way I think of it. When magic exists, there is no way to trust anything unless it has a promise to it, and that's the only way you know something is real. If somebody promises you that this is real, then you are trusting that to overcome or to shine through any kind of magic, right? So, and that's why Fae promises hold such weight, and why oaths are so important. Because magic can't be trusted. Magic can change the fundamental nature of reality itself. So the only thing you can count on is another person's honesty and their ability and their willingness to do what they say they're going to do. So to me, that's what's very important about Fae oaths and Fae promises. Okay. This is your anchor through the magic that exists that can change your physicality on a whim, right?
Just catching up with the chat room because we were talking, and they were talking about that the court can change. So that one of other doc was saying one of the most interesting things is when a Fae changes their court from Seelie on or vice versa. And also another good way of looking at it, Gallows Adler said Seelie believes chivalry is the way of things and Unseelie disagree. And I feel that chivalry that it's the way to go with all things.
Yeah. Well, it's a very Seelie way to explain the world.
Yeah.
Jim says that he's going with Unseelie.
Okay.
You're different.
I'm so excited to be put upon. I'm so excited.
It's great actually. Yeah. That will end up with a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
So. Okay, so house, you can kind of ignore that. If you like one of the houses and you're like, oh, I want to be part of this house, then absolutely pick that and we can work it in.
Mediterranean revivalist?
No.
Oh.
So pick a house if you like to. If nothing about them speaks to you, then just ignore them, and we don't need it.
Read legacies. Did you?
Yes.
Did you say we have to have one Seelie and one Unseelie?
Yes, you pick one Seelie legacy and one Unseelie legacy.
Are they both active at the same time, both bans and quests?
I believe no, I don't think so. I will have to confirm that, but I believe no, just the one of your current court is active.
Okay, cool. Because I'm having the worst time finding an Unseelie legacy that I like.
Yeah.
I'll just pick one.
That was my easy one.
What?
I'm having trouble with my Seelie one, which is
Oh,
probably why I
interesting. Yeah.
decided on Unseelie.
Yeah.
It's funny. I jumped on Seelie super quick, and it
Yeah?
took me a little bit to get
Really?
to Unseelie, but I found one I ended up liking.
Do you guys want to share yours?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what'd
Yeah,
you
let's
pick?
share.
Sure. I guess I'll go. For the Seelie, I picked Saint.
Okay.
I was looking at that, but it doesn't feel right for me.
Well, let me just. I'll
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
do a
read
quick,
it, please. Yeah.
A quick. The saint always strives to ease the burden of others, for she feels their pain is her own. She doesn't hesitate to give her time, money, even the shirt off her own back if it helps a soul in need. She finds herself in the position of martyrdom but doesn't mind. Her own comfort is secondary to that of all others. The quest is regain willpower when you protect another from harm or alleviate someone's suffering. And the ban is never knowingly cause distress or harm to anyone. For my Unseelie, I actually picked the Wretch. The Wretch is the outcast that no one relates to. The wallflower never asked to dance. The loser never picked for the team. The freak never invited to a party. Everyone assumes he hates himself as much as they do, but they're wrong. The long and short, the quest, regain willpower when others vilify you as worthless or despair of ever getting through to you. Ban, never accept praise.
Oh, that's so good.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Too real.
Nice. Yeah, nice.
So-
and yes, to confirm, no, they're not both active at the same time. Your current court determines which one is primary.
Okay.
The other one might influence you, but you don't have to follow the ban
Got
when
it.
you're in the other court.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Jim's going with Knave for the Unseelie. I don't know. Do you want to read that? Or
Sure, I've got it up.
Yeah.
Cool.
Go.
And then I'll tell you the other one.
For the Unseelie, the Knave.
Yeah.
The Knave is a guide to forbidden pleasures and dark desires.
Ooh, nice.
She encourages, tempts, or tricks her targets into indulging into their hidden fantasies. For her, nothing is as delicious as transforming the sweet into the sordid, the innocent into the depraved. Still, the Knave doesn't compromise people just for fun, and make no mistake, it is fun. Rather, she's revealing what base and feral creatures lie in the heart of everyone. The quest is to regain willpower when you convince others to do something they oppose, and they enjoy it. And the ban is to never shelter anybody from the harsh truths of life.
Nice. Okay.
Dick, Jim.
And the other one he picked was for Seelie was Dandy.
The dandy is a master of etiquette, but
Yeah.
only as a means to the end. Acutely aware of their social hierarchy and their place in it, he knows he must climb higher. He wields gossip and intrigue as weapons in the fight to the top. Blah, 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 blah. Quest is when you solidify your social standing or rise higher, regain willpower. Ban is to never pass up a chance to make yourself look good or impress a superior.
Nice.
So Jim's going to be impressing me a lot.
Uh-huh.
Aw.
No,
A
shade.
superior.
Shade, no, I'm kidding.
Do you have yours, Claire?
Yeah, I picked Bumpkin. I looked at Paladin, but I didn't like the way it was done.
Okay.
Bumpkin. Solid and practical, the Bumpkin is happiest when she is solving problems. Common sense, pragmatism, and preparation are the tools of her trade. Her logic and uncanny ability to always ask the right questions refocuses any off-topic discussion. The only thing that catches a Bumpkin off guard is how no one else thinks as logically as she does, which is going to be just real fun.
I was going to say, you wanted to play a different character. I
Oh.
think you're there.
I think we found it. Do what you love. Quest is when you overcome adversity with a practical solution, regain willpower, and ban is never pass up an opportunity to use logic or common sense.
Nice.
I think that'll be real. There were a couple that kind of leaned into the courtly thing, but I think I wanted someone who was because I have the idea of making her a computer, like a software engineer.
Mm-hmm.
So, which in a way, if you know anything about computer science, is magic on its own.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I have this. I just like the idea of having someone who's like, I don't know, I get it. It just works. Let's just go with like.
Mm-hmm.
I know how it works, but I couldn't explain to you how.
Yeah.
And then
Nice.
for Unseelie, none of them really fit, so I went with the Beast. The Beast lives to conquer her foes. Everyone falls in 2 categories: those who bow before her, and those destroyed for refusing. If something exists, it exists for her pleasure. If it displeases her, it didn't deserve to exist. The Beast isn't mindless fury, however. To achieve her end, she'll play the long game, manipulating enemies against each other. Little is as entertaining to her as watching her adversaries dance to a tune she orchestrated. It was just the most orderly of the...
Yeah.
Quest: regain willpower when you remove a significant opposition to your goals. Ban: never retreat, never forfeit that which is yours.
Never surrender.
Yeah, I don't think that you want my character to go bad.
It's funny. I like the Seelie legacy so much better than the Unseelie legacy. So it's like that's just.
Well, maybe you are Seelie right now, and I mean,
Maybe you're Seelie right now.
Maybe I am. Think of it like a continuum. You're you're never fully Seelie, you're never fully Unseelie.
Yeah.
You could be, but most changelings are all about that duality. Everything is a duality. For every thing, there's an opposite thing.
Yeah.
So that's one of the other things that I think is most fascinating about this game, in the way it's set up, is that everything's a pendulum, and where are you on that swing, as opposed to you are this way and you will never be another way.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
And just so you know, so it says bans are actions that run counter to the legacy's archetype. If a character violates his primary legacy's ban, he forfeits a point of willpower. I will probably make it a stiffer penalty than that.
Awesome.
Yeah. A changeling can go against his primary legacy's ban without penalty if he can justify it using his secondary legacy, which I will consider much more reasonably. However, if the changeling invokes his secondary legacy too frequently, he might be on the verge of trading courts. So, so that kind of gives you an idea. If you're using your Seelie legacy a lot more than your Unseelie legacy, then you're probably being Seelie, and you probably would switch court. And we'll talk more about what
switching court means.
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
Because I feel like this is very much like walking the line.
Yeah.
Like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's fine. And like I can imagine there are some games where nobody ever switches court. But then there are probably other games where people, or sometimes a character might switch court all the time.
Okay.
So we can talk about what that means, and maybe court is the thing that your character is always going to wrestle with, and that could be fun.
Okay.
So. Gina, you got some legacies?
I think so. I'm torn right now between 2 Seelie ones. I'm looking at Courtier and Orchid, but I'm kind of leaning towards Orchid. So let me read Orchid. Where are we? At home, the orchid lives a pampered, sheltered life free of suffering, but circumstances always seem to yank him from his place of comfort. When forced into the harsh realities of the world, he is woefully unprepared, unaccustomed to deception. The orchid cannot tell lies from truth. Paralyzed by insecurity, he hides his true self and doesn't trust anyone, yet lets others make his decisions in the hopes a hero will protect him. Yeah, I don't know. I like that one, but it might...
It's a pretty good Selkie idea, because it feels like in this, Selkies are very, like, aerial,
Yeah.
That's also why I didn't want to be a Selkie. Like, this is
I don't know. Because I was also looking at Crafter and at Panderer. So I might change that one. The other one, one I'm kind of hard that I like is for Unseelie is Pandora. Yeah, I know. Because when in doubt, I'm good.
I'm okay.
Thank you. Pandora, the Pandora just can't leave any box shut, doy. She is insatiably curious, but more than that, she realizes that secrets always reveal themselves at the most disastrous time. She reveals what's hidden at the earliest opportunity, for a shock of pain is better than drawn-out torment. To her, rules are just another kind of secret. The more forbidden something is, the more necessary it becomes. The Pandora knows secrets never keep forever, and prohibitions must be disobeyed.
So that's almost like an anathema to the Sluagh, right? Who are all about like keeping secrets and like finding things. So it's just like, why would you tell anybody?
Right?
Just stop. Get a hold of yourself.
Right? Yeah.
Which that's going to be really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool beans.
Right.
So I'm looking at the cola. I'm like, have you ever done? No.
So, okay. So, house we already talked about. If anybody wants to play with houses, let me know.
I've been watching Pose, and so it's a very different meaning when you say house.
Oh.
Oh.
Different.
Oh, thank you.
welcome.
That is really good too.
It is.
And I love Catu's labels.
I know. Because they're wine. It has kitties.
So, okay. So the next thing on here is your seeming.
Okay.
So there are three choices. You're either a childling, a wilder, or a grump. So this is part of your outlook on life, and there are some specific mechanical things that come from this, and certain things that you can do as one that you can't do as another, and things. You can go in between them, but childling is basically, do you have a very childlike view of the world? Are you in wonder of everything, or in wonder, not wander? Are you in wonder of everything? Do you find the world mystical and magical and exciting?
Page 84.
Grump is you're focused on building things on the legacy of your life, on the future, on making things stable. Wilder is kind of the in between, and that's most Fae are in the Wilder section, and it's kind of like, in a way, your teenage years. There's this sort of like, I need to experience things. I need to have adventures. I need to go on quests. I need to be important.
Okay, Belle.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim and I both went Wilder.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, Rob and I just both went grump, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Nice. Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we'll start filling out our first dot. So if you're a wilder, you can choose +1 glamour or +1 willpower. If you went grump, choose +1 willpower.
And that's just filling in one of the little
Yeah, fill in
bubbles.
one of the dots, the bubbles. Yeah. So glamour, willpower, and banality, all three. So you have dots and boxes. So for glamour and willpower, what?
Dots and boxes.
Dots and boxes.
It's like boats and hose.
Yeah.
Just different.
Yeah.
Kirby dots.
So the dots are your permanent points. That's your permanent score in those things. The boxes are your temporary points. So so glamour, you build that up, and then you spend it to do various things, like make your magic, or do various magic-y things. Willpower is it's kind of a measure of how resolute you are, and how how strong it is. Your literal willpower. How strong-willed are you?
Gotcha.
The higher this is, the more committed you are to your goals and your dreams and your ideas.
Got it.
And you can use that willpower mechanically to fuel yourself, and so you can spend willpower to basically get an automatic success on something that you are otherwise that you're capable of doing. So even if things are really shitty, you can at least keep from botching.
Got it.
If you spend a point of willpower.
How quickly do you give back willpower?
It depends. So anytime a day passes in story that you get a decent night's sleep, a reasonable night's sleep, then you're going to get a point of willpower back from that. If you act according to your quest from your legacy, especially your primary legacy, then you will get a point of willpower, maybe more if you really exemplify it. So if you do something that's kind of in your quest, you'll get a point. If you do something that is like the pinnacle of your quest, then I'm probably going to fill you back up all the way.
Okay, cool.
So I'm fairly liberal with giving it back as long as things aren't too stressful.
Okay.
If things are super stressful, like if you're all like kept up all night at a campfire, like that's gonna hurt. So
Actually, I like that.
yeah. Well, not if there's like the campfire's the only thing keeping the chimera from like coming in and devouring you.
Then maybe.
Yeah.
That won't be as much fun.
Yeah.
Extra
so
fun.
yeah.
Well, fair.
So I prefer you to. My thought is like generally in a session, you're generally going to get one back at the beginning of the session.
Okay.
In most cases.
Okay.
And any time you sleep, you'll get one back. So if you guys actually like go through the story and not like spend like 10 weeks of sessions on 4 hours of story time.
I've never heard of that happening.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
that
You've
never
never
happens.
No.
played in any other games at Happy Jacks before?
Strange.
So generally you're going to get 1 to 3 points back each session.
Okay.
And then more if you're clearly playing your quest.
Gotcha.
I will kind of put it on you guys for the most part to remind me of your quest. Automatically give you a point. It's okay to say, hey, my quest is this. Does that count for a point? So try not to stretch credulity.
Oh. Buddy, we're role players.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. So So and then Glamour and Kith. Obviously, we've already talked about that. And then Motley is the name of your group.
So our crew.
Your crew. Yeah.
I hate
So if you want to have, oh God damn it! I knew that. I should have known. Motley crew.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just keep going, guys. Just keep going.
God. So the Skechers gang.
Like
The Freehold is a Skechers store.
Nope.
So
X card. Oh yes, there is an X card. That's actually a great.
Actually two.
There are X cards on the table. You guys probably know that I'm pretty. I am pretty I'm super racy. I like lots of sex and excitement and nudity in my games, and dirty words. So I like sexy stories. If you don't want your character to have any sexy story time, that's totally fine. Tell me you don't want romance, and I will not put it in there.
And we got X cards on the table, and we
Right,
can do lines and veils as we play.
Yes, exactly. So I'm open to. I'm still playing a lot with like various tools for safety. So if there's one you want to use or that anybody has a preference for, like I'm fine with let's throw that in there. I'm used to the X card, but just my main thing with the X card is that I need to know sometimes, as GM anyway, I feel like, and player, I feel like I need to know when somebody taps the X card, are you tapping this because of the content or because of the way it was delivered or the impact that, I get frustrated because I want to respect the ability to not have to talk about it, but I also need to know, like, what is the exact thing that you don't, that doesn't work for you right now.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
I think, and if for some reason, a person doesn't even know this necessarily for themselves, but there can be experiences that are particularly triggering, and it can be the kind of day you're having, or it can be just some, I don't know, sense memory sort of thing, and all of a sudden something's there. So I think we like each other enough and that we like the players more, even you. I know you're
Even
looking
you,
at
Rob.
me, Rob.
We do like you, Rob.
But that we would respect that, and there could be a time somebody X cards and says, "Can I tell you after the game? Can we just fast forward?"
And totally
Yeah.
fine.
Like,
totally
let's
fine.
end this scene.
Yeah. You do not have to tell me on stream.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell
But
me at all.
sometimes
if,
we'll be
if you
able
need
to
Yeah.
to your point.
If you can, please tell me what it is specifically that you would like to X card, if you can do that without making you even more uncomfortable. I would rather stop it and live in wonder than than have you feel uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
So anyway, but great segue. Thanks for that joke. So, by the way, Rob likes me so much he has my initials on his jacket.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or it's for Advanced Warfare.
Or it's for Adam West.
That's fine. Yeah.
Adam West.
Okay, so, all right. So here's one of my, so now we get into character creation and the point system. And this actually is one of my favorite parts of White Wolf. I really like making White Wolf characters.
Okay.
So I find,
Sorry.
I don't always agree with their numbers.
Okay.
But which is one of the reasons I'm a little more liberal with handing them out. But I do like kind of the way they arrange things. So first is your traits, and you have the 3 categories: physical, social, and mental. And you have 3 traits in each one of those, 3 attributes in each one of those. And so you're going to prioritize. So the one that is most primary, you're going to have 7 points to put in there, not including the points that are already blacked in. So those are freebies.
So it's 7?
7
For your
in your primary,
5 for the
5 for your secondary, and 3 for your tertiary. Okay.
Across
the 3 that are in that. So like
shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So say you go let's say you go in order. Physical is your primary, then social, then mental. So you've got 7 dots to put in to spread out among the 3 physical traits of strength, dexterity, and stamina.
Gotcha, that makes sense. Okay, gotcha.
You'll have 5 dots to spread among charisma, manipulation, and appearance, and 3 to spread among perception, intelligence, and wits. So some things for you guys to know here. So in White Wolf, for those who aren't super familiar, strength is really important for melee damage. So if you want to do a melee combat character, strength is super important. However, do not sacrifice dexterity for strength, because you use dexterity to hit. Okay? So it's not like D&D where how strong you are determines how good you are at hitting things. No, you have to be dexterous enough to hit something in order for your massive strength to be important.
As you say, the mental image of just like really driving your hand through that wall.
Yeah, right, yeah. I mean, if you're actually punching something that you can't miss, then that's just a straight strength roll. Let's see how much damage you do. But strength does not affect how well you swing your sword, because if you're a bodybuilder and you have never swung a sword before, you're still not good at hitting things. Yeah. So and it's so funny because like especially once I played a White Wolf game, I was like, oh, D&D and strength and dex is so annoying. Like it bugs me.
Jim suggested a motley name for us because he said something about Hot Topic, but then he said since it's the Clockwork Court, we could be the Swatches. It made me laugh.
The Swatches.
I laughed, Jim. I totally laughed.
I think it's adorable.
It is
also,
Swatch out for
Claire
these
knew
guys.
what a swatch
here's
was, though.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I might be able to sell Claire on this. Okay, so motley technically is it's when you it's when you have basically a patchwork or multicolored garment. So and swatches are samples of garments.
That's
so
okay. Fine.
Yeah,
I caught that. Yeah.
I say it's totally up to you guys. You don't even have to have a name if you don't want. But
we could be the Night Swatch.
The Night Swatch.
Oh my God! See, I love that.
I kind of like the Knight Swatch, Knight Swatch, the Night Swatch. I fucking love that.
The puns keep happening.
I know. I love
Sorry, guys.
That was good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Joey's got me into Bob's Burgers, and the pun game in Bob's Burgers is strong.
Louise is my spirit animal.
I am Linda Belcher. Yeah.
You are Linda Belcher.
All right.
I am super excited to
Let's play a game. All right.
I'm not gonna lie. Part of the reason I was super excited for you to GM is 100% because I want you to do the voices.
Oh yeah, I do all the voices.
Yeah, you do all the voices.
All the voices. Yeah.
And then
Voices are one of my main reasons to GM. If for those who aren't aware, my last GMing job on Happy Jacks was playing Interpol X, which I did specifically so that I could try every accent that I could get my hands on. So, international travel group. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so physical, social, and mental attributes, and then you've got the 753.
Yep.
And again, just to point out, that is in addition to the 3 that are already filled out.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. My Scantron's done for that section.
Yes. Okay.
Me too.
All right. So I'm not going to quiz you about those if you have any questions. So I wanted to also talk about so stamina is also important for your ability to soak damage. So if somebody punches you, like the points you have in stamina takes away from how much that hurts. Stamina does not soak magical damage or what's called aggravated damage.
Yeah.
So and we'll talk about damage later, but
how often do you think we're fighting in this game?
I don't know, but I mean, physical is where the fighting happens.
Yeah, I'm just I'm just doing it for my
to
character. Like, what would my character have already gone through?
Yeah,
like,
I really actually wanted to make it like mental was actually a higher stat for me because of that.
Yeah.
And then we started talking about fighting a lot, and I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and there's opportunities to add more and round out too.
Yeah.
So
Back to that.
So social charisma is how much people like you. Manipulation is how good you are at manipulating others, and appearance is just how hot you are. And there is like actual literal mechanic to appearance in this. It's not like charisma in D&D where it's like, oh, you might be hot and you might just be charming. But this is your actual appearance. So there, there are certain vampires who have a 0 appearance, which is like you're hideous to look upon.
It's the abs stat.
Yeah,
That's
right.
That's what
It is, yeah. Which is why my characters are usually maxed out in it.
I know.
Yeah, but actually, and for all of these, a 2 is average. Okay, so so 2 points is average. On anything. So
I'm astoundingly bad at manipulating people.
That's totally fine. Yeah. So and 1 is just below average. You have to go to 0 to be like super awful. Yeah.
No, this scans.
So and then mental, you have perception, which is your ability to notice things and to spot things. Intelligence is your ability to puzzle things out. It's your logic and reason. And then wits is the quickness of your. So it's like mental dexterity. Okay. So.
Okay.
Right.
Got
Does
it.
that all make sense?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
And so when we're all done, your wits and your dexterity are going to come into play for certain things like initiative and stuff like that.
Cool.
So and if you guys get to the end and the sort of like you'll combine 2 other things to get your willpower, which is what is it? It's in here. Where is it?
Page 170.
Oh no, they're starting. It starts at a certain number.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's right. It used to be like you combined like your I think it was like intelligence plus stamina or stuff like that. Anyway, but there are certain like generated things that will happen from
Makes sense.
yeah.
Yep.
So. Okay, so then you've got talents, skills, and knowledges. These are your abilities. Most of the time, when you're going to make a roll for a challenge, you're going to combine an attribute and an ability, and that's going to create your dice pool. So if you have a 3 dexterity and a 3 melee, and you want to hit somebody with a sword, then you're going to roll 6 dice.
Cool.
Okay. I will tell you what the target number is, but it's generally 6, unless I tell you otherwise.
Okay.
So the when you roll something, when you roll a dice pool, if you get 1 success, that's like you did it, but just barely, right? So 3 is you got it. Fine. No, there's no question. You did the thing. It may not be perfect. It may not be gorgeous, but you did it. Solid, and there's no consequence. It's no partial, and nothing like that. 5 is like, holy fuck, you're amazing.
Okay.
Right?
Cool.
So that's kind of the range. So you're looking for between 1 and 5 successes. Anything over 5 is just gravy.
Okay.
It helps with like if you are.
Sorry.
You can always turn it off first.
Yeah.
If we are doing combat things and you're doing damage, like extra successes add to damage. But generally, if you've got once you pass 3 successes, like you did the thing that you set out to accomplish. All right.
Cool.
So if you get 1 or 2, I might lay some consequences on you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so that can kind of guide you as you're trying to decide like what you're good at and what you're not good at. So again, also with all of the abilities, 2 is average. I would like you not to have 5 dots in anything unless you have a really good reason why you might be one of the best people in the world at this thing. Okay. So I would prefer that you kind of cap everything out at 4.
4. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But if for some reason you think it's really important character-wise, then let's talk about it. Yeah. So numbers. So again, you're going to pick your primary, secondary, and tertiary column. Right. The primary column gets 13 points.
Yep.
Secondary gets 9, and tertiary gets 5. Now, that's according to them.
Oh.
When we get into character creation, or when we get into like
Story
building and relationship building, and they start learning about your backstories, I'm probably going to add like 3 or 4 extras in here.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, so there's some weird ones. So kenning is your ability to sense the supernatural.
Fairy stuff.
Yeah. And also other bad guys, or not other bad guys, but other supernatural things like vampires, werewolves, sorcerer magic, ghosts, all that. But especially with fairy stuff. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, there's the who's the hobby talent? Is this what is that? Oh yeah, anything self-taught. So this is if there's something that doesn't really fit in with another, with another thing. So for somebody who has spent their entire life playing role-playing games, you might have a hobby talent of role-playing games.
Oh, cool.
Right?
Okay.
So it's for things like that aren't really covered in here. It's not the same as like Enigmas necessarily, So, and it's not necessarily the same as performance, But yeah, Clara, what are you gonna ask?
Well, I was gonna say because I would really want to have my character be a software engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Can I do something like that use that as part like a hobby talent and kind of put in like programming or robotics?
Oh, that would be a specialty in computer.
Okay.
So I would put dots into computer under knowledges.
Oh, cool.
And then and then you can choose specialties that will allow you to you basically get to re-roll 10s or double 10s explode basically.
And do specialties take other dots, or how does that work?
Let me remember. Okay. Anytime you get a 4 or higher, that's what it is. Yeah. So once you have 4 or higher in an ability, you get a specialty in it. So,
which we might. I mean, you can right away, but then we're going to get points to spend on dots as we go through.
Yes.
Also.
Yeah. So these are your bases.
Yeah.
And then later after we get done with the base numbers, you're going to have freebie points to spend. So so those they work kind of like experience points, except for some reason they have to have completely different costs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just don't get it. It's like, why don't you just like, I don't know. But yeah, you'll get freebie points at the end. I believe it's 15 of them, and you can add into those. What I will say is that it is easier to buy the higher levels somebody in chat room correct me if I'm wrong on this. It's
character
easier to buy.
creation.
Well, yeah, and it's easier to buy them with freebie points as opposed to these base points.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
Or wait, no, that's not right.
No, base points are easier than freebie points.
Base points are easier
Yeah.
than freebie
That
points.
makes
Yeah,
more
that's what I was
sense.
going to say. Once
Yeah.
you get to, then you're spending them like,
Although actually, it looks like freebie points are just per dot. So yeah, so it doesn't really matter.
So
It used to
XP.
yeah.
God, I forgot that.
it used to
drive.
But and I will tell you, so drive is one of those for me. Like that's stunt driving.
Yeah.
We're playing a modern day game. All of you know how to drive if you want to know how to drive. Let me tell you a couple of others. Okay, so here let's just get this out of the way. Okay, everybody gets a point in drive.
Oh, okay.
Everybody gets a point in computer.
Cool.
Everybody who completed, if your character completed high school, take a point in academics. And I believe that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are automatic points. They don't take away from your numbers. I forgot. I always like to do that.
Cool.
Yeah, it used to be. Oh, that's what it was. It used to be that like when you were buying with your main points, the fourth and fifth dots cost more than just 1 point per dot.
Oh yeah.
And so it was easier to buy them with freebie points because you only had to pay like 2 freebie points for them as opposed to like 4 regular points. Things
You
like
could
that.
still go up
So I
to
think-
4 with your base points. You would prefer we don't go to 5.
I would prefer you not
Yeah.
go to 5 unless you come up with a good reason.
Yeah.
If you've got a good thing and you're like, this is the thing that my character is focused on. I'm known for this throughout the world.
Okay.
I don't want to Jon Snow it. I mean Mary Sue it.
Yeah.
But
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
hashtag bitter. I want your characters are important to the world.
Cool.
That's part of my part of my philosophy in role playing games. We're telling a story about important characters. And so your characters should have things that they do better than anybody else. And if you can come up with a reason why you're one of the top people in the world for this, I'm totally okay with that. I just want to know, if Rob was like, yes, I am the greatest detective of all time. Okay, well then why are you in this like small harbor town? Mm-hmm. And so that's that's the kind of thing I'm looking for. Is I want to make sure that if you've got a 5 in something, how does that fit in with why you are where you are right now? Yeah, what's the story?
Okay.
Yeah, and that's really my main thing. So,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, and and just so you know, talents are things that you're inherently good at. Skills are things that you train, and knowledges are things that you kind of generally learn by rote knowledge. A couple of other weird things in here. So professional skill and expert knowledge, they work kind of like hobby talent. Mm-hmm. So they're for things that aren't covered by another thing that you might know just because you've been doing something similar the whole time. So, okay, so...
So we said that my thing would be under professional skill, or
no, I think it'd be under
just computer.
Under computer, yeah.
Okay. I just have I just put 4 on computer, and I have like 2 in tech.
Yeah.
I'm an indoor nerd.
Yeah. Okay, so Enigmas is your ability to figure out puzzles and riddles and things like that. Grammaire is your understanding of lore, so your knowledge of like Fey history and also other occult history. And then
Do we have to take specialties?
You do not have to take specialty, but if you have 4 or more in something, you might as well take it. It doesn't cost you anything.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah. And you can make up a specialty. It doesn't have to be what's listed under the skills or under the ability. So those are suggestions. But like if you, subterfuge for you might be like lie detector. Like you're good at telling when somebody's lying to you.
Okay.
You know?
I get you.
So it might... it might not be that you're pretty good still at lying to other people, but it's more that you know exactly when somebody's lying to you.
Gotcha.
That's the kind of thing specialties are for.
That makes sense.
So like computers, like there's a difference between like I'm tech support versus I'm internet security versus I'm programmer, you know. So so those are things, the kinds of things specialties would be for. Oh, and animal ken is your ability to understand and relate to animals.
Good boys.
So, yes, good boys. Yeah, it doesn't mean you know about animals. I mean, you might, but it means that you are animals like you. You know how to be around them.
Cool.
Of all kinds. Like if you were like Siegfried and Roy, you might have animal ken of 4 and specialty in big cats. Yeah.
Did you guys go 4 with your any of your bases?
Any of our base attributes?
Either attributes or abilities.
One
just
of them had a
curious.
specialty in big cats. The other did
I have
not.
a couple, but actually, so with 4 we have to pick a specialty.
You should pick a specialty.
On abilities or
on attributes as well.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool. So I have a okay.
So like if you have a strength of 4,
Okay.
you could pick a specialty in lifting, or maybe it's a specialty in like.
Swole.
Yeah.
Where
Is
the
that including
hell is
the
that?
point we were given?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you include if you got up to 4 total, then you pick a specialty.
That's interesting.
Where is it on the character sheet? Or you're supposed to just write it
Just
on
write
the
it
line?
in. I just wrote it in the line.
Okay.
So like some charisma specialties are silver-tongued, eloquent, captivating, infectious humor, outgoing. Appearance is exotic, commanding, unconventional looks, captivating, style. Intelligence, scholarly, creative, subject expertise, trivia, logical.
I'm thinking Dex.
So you might have a,
Yeah.
so like your specialty might be swimming. It's very, No.
Yeah. What
Actually, you know what? I'm going to give you an automatic specialty in swimming for
Okay.
a
Well,
Selkie.
well, I was gonna
if
say-
you're in Selkie form.
I was going to
Okay.
say, have you seen
Cool.
Seals
No.
otherwise?
Yeah.
Their specialties are the ones they list as ideas are cat-like grace, cat-like reflexes, preternatural grace, swift, steady hand, sure-footed.
Mm-hmm.
So like preternatural grace,
Yeah.
could be one of them.
Yeah.
I picture her being a doy, a surfer.
Oh, uh-huh.
Skateboard surfer.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's like world class, but I think she's really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Which totally makes sense. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Why she'd be fey desirable.
Mm-hmm. There's
So I like
Selkies,
that.
yeah.
The grace is good.
Okay, so Selkie has you reduce the difficulty for all rolls involving Dex by 2 while in the water. This applies either in human or seal form, and you can never botch a swimming roll. So,
That's good.
Yeah, never say
So,
never.
Yeah.
Right? Right? Yeah. Oh, man,
Yeah.
that was Scum and Villainy on Saturday night. Like, we'd crit, and then we'd all roll, like, 1s and 3s. And it's like, oh, okay. That's
Right.
what game this is.
Yeah, exactly. The
Yep.
highs and lows.
I know exactly.
Keeping one eye open.
Yeah.
I've built a character that I like.
I know.
I'm happy that the game reinforced what I wanted to do with my character anyway.
Oh, uh-huh.
Because when a lot of people who learn how to hack now, it's white hat hacking, where you basically exist to poke at other people's security systems to find out if they work.
Mhm.
That's what I was sort of looking at with this character. Is her job would basically be cybersecurity, or like security, but sitting there.
Ooh, are you a black hacker?
White hat.
White
hat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sealy Court.
Oh, there
Yeah.
you go. Yeah, no, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From what
White
everything
hat.
said about trolls, they're really not good at being bad people.
No, it's not generally a thing that
That's
they
awesome.
do.
Yeah.
Even when they're like enraged, unseelie, and like all pissed off, like it's more of like it's just like sheer barbarian rage.
Yeah.
It's not like being evil.
Yeah, it's not
necessarily.
like maliciousness. It's just anger.
Yeah, it's just stay out of the way. Okay, so to clarify, just because I just double checked, but if you have a specialty in something and you're doing a roll with that specialty, any 10s count as 2 successes.
Oh, 10s count as 2.
Okay.
They count as 2. So they don't explode, they count as 2.
So they double up.
Yes.
Awesome.
Double up.
Cool.
Okay. So who took specialties and what did you take and what is in? Yeah.
I have specialties in hacking for computer and security for technology because, duh.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I have a specialty in logical for intelligence.
Okay.
It's
Cool.
all pretty logical. Makes a lot of sense for what I come up with.
Yeah. And by the way, you can buy specialties later as well, and that's a thing you can buy with experience points.
Also, it's very important to me to have no empathy. On mine, I did not put points in empathy or expression.
Yeah. Do not understand peopling. Yeah. No. Okay. Rob, would you?
Oh, okay. My specialty in mental for perception is insightful. For knowledges, I have a specialty in enigmas tied to ancient mysteries.
Ooh, interesting.
And then knowledge of law as in police procedure.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because I should. Like, it's called my job.
Right, yeah.
I should be competent.
Good at it.
You could be the world's shittiest. Be the world's shittiest detective.
No, because exist, I'm sure.
No, then it'll turn into CSI Miami, where I'm just going to make puns and then put on sunglasses. And you don't want that in your game.
That's true.
No.
You don't want that
really
Ricky Bobby. You don't want that evil.
What about you, Gina? Did you take any specialties?
I did. Just for Dex then, because that's the only 4 I have right now. So you said take swimming, but I also took Swift.
Okay.
And then Jim said he has a 4 in wits. And so he took cool-headed as his specialty.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And all my abilities are still at 3, although I think that'll change when we do points.
Yeah.
Hey Jim, since you're listening in, what did you do like primary, secondary, tertiary in like physical, social, mental? Like how did you kind of play out in that? If you can tell us that.
Which is really cool because I'm sensing based on just the conversation we've had that we've each chosen a different column for our. Like I took physical because of being an athlete.
Yeah.
And then
I went mental.
Yeah, you went mental.
I actually went mental.
Oh, you did? It sounded like somebody had charisma going there.
No.
Like
I think
the social.
Jim's probably going to have some charisma.
I bet he
too.
will too.
It sounds like he's charismatic. I chose
Pisky.
Yeah.
I'm almost considering taking out those points in charisma, but I wouldn't know where to put them.
That's my secondary column though, the social. Just because of the concept I have.
No, fine. I took 3 points.
I think that's awesome though for your character.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's going to be brilliant.
Oh yeah. Okay. I know exactly how I'm playing. Like what I want to do for a character. I just need the points to make it make sense.
Yeah.
There he is.
He answered. Yeah. It's not letting me see it, but if you
here you go.
Yeah. So. Oh, okay. Yeah. So in mental, social, physical. So physical 2 across the board. So and definitely his weaker is physical. Social 3-3-2 and mental 3-3-4.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So 3 of us took mental.
Yeah.
He
interesting.
went social.
No,
he
went
mental.
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 Oh yeah, you did. So 3 mental.
So,
And guess what? Now I know why I hang out with you guys.
Right? Yeah.
Because that's my low column.
Right? Yeah.
I have wits.
Yeah.
And, and some perception.
Yeah. So obviously this is probably not going to be a combat heavy game.
Well, I'm
okay. So
I'm ready for it.
That's where
that's
where my points are.
Right.
Yeah. Like I think actually we mirrored and went 5 physical, 3 social, 7 mental.
Yeah.
Right. So 5, like I mean 5, and then with you taking lead, we could still be fighty.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fighting is entirely possible.
Well,
but
and
like,
fighting doesn't always
is
have
not
to
your
take
focus,
on the same
Right.
Yeah.
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 view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. And
Some people
that's
are sneaky in fights, and some people are talky in fights, and some people hit people with their skateboard.
right.
Yeah.
One of the things I like about White Wolf is it does combat. It's not the thing it does best, and when it combat in White Wolf is best when it's kept simple. So like if everybody's just shooting guns at each other, like it's actually pretty simple. It's not very exciting, but it's simple and it works fine. It gets messy when you're like starting to do like melee and all kinds of different things like that. So
I'm not gonna lie, I want a sword.
You can have a sword. Yeah.
I want a sword, but I don't know if I'll ever get to use.
Yes.
The sword.
Oh, yeah. And as Jim just pointed out, this game has rules for social combat as well, which I love. So yeah,
What if
I'm
you're a
not engaging in
LARPer
that.
or you're a reenactment person on
Yeah.
the side, and you would totally have that freaking sword?
That's
'cause-
your
real?
That's your hobbyist.
Yeah.
My hobby.
Right. Yeah. Hobby.
You're a
hobby,
reenactment person.
My hobby is HEMA.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's one of those things. It's not necessarily a stretch to be like, oh yeah, my character LARPs all the time, and I'm the shield maiden in our LARP. So like,
Yeah.
I actually know some things about historical battle and like sword
Yeah.
fighting and things like that.
Yeah, but I don't want to play that because that's too real.
I just want you to have a sword so you can be Brienne the troll.
I'm definitely still
Yeah.
being. Well, and the thing is, I think there are rules for glamours and things like that.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to have like an actual Fae heirloom sword,
Yes.
that just
Oh, no,
looks like a
there's-
baseball
in the
bat.
Yes.
They're like
Yep.
Yeah.
chimeric
They're in there.
weapons.
Yep,
Yeah.
chimeric weapons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim says, if you want to beat things up, play werewolf. So, yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna beat things up.
And Jim says his character is a plotter, a Ravenclaw for the win.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So let's move on. So we got our talent, skills, and knowledges. Next is advantages. So your backgrounds, your arts, and your realms. Okay.
Yeah.
So the backgrounds, you've got chimera. So these are items or
Page
companions that only
169.
exist in the chimerical world. Right.
And
so,
what is the chimerical world?
Okay, so that's the Fae overlay.
Okay.
So here's kind of how to explain it. So Clara is a troll, right? Okay. In reality, her character is probably like 7 foot tall or so. In the Fae world, chimerically she would be like 7 feet tall. In mortal form, her mortal seeming. She might only be like 5 foot. So, so
It's not the same thing like the Selkie with the water.
right,
Like that
yeah,
mortals can't see that there's constantly like a pool of water around me.
yeah,
But-
right.
Okay.
But you guys can.
Gotcha,
So
gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha.
So, and one of the things that's important here is Jim says it's like the dreaming penumbra. So, does that help you?
No.
Okay.
Because he used a big word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Jim used single syllables.
Oh my god, I'm acting
Monosyllabic.
like this is touch screen. Since when did this tiny little screen become touch
So,
screen?
what matters in like dealing with the chimerical world versus the mortal world is intention. So, if a changeling comes up, and or let's say a mortal comes up, and tries to this is actually an example in the book, tries to shoot Clara's character in the back of the head, and aims for her mortal head, which is at 5 feet high.
Yeah.
Like, it could still kill her.
Because
Because
the intention
Yes.
is to shoot for the head.
Yeah. So her face self is like her head is 2 feet above where it's being aimed at, but the intention is to shoot her in the head, and that again, like magic, like I was saying with magic and promises, it's the intention that matters because magic doesn't follow rules of physics.
Got it. Okay.
So
Okay.
So chimera is kind of like that. So you might have a chimerical sword, right? In the mortal world, that sword might just look like a pen, a ballpoint pen, right? But if you swing that ballpoint pen at a Fae or you stab them, it is going to stab them like a sword in their face.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. So
In their face.
Yeah, in their face. So you might have like a Fae companion, like maybe you have a little dragon that's always on your shoulder.
Okay.
People can't see it. Mortals can't see it, but Fae can see it, and Fae can other changelings can see it, and they know that it's there.
Okay.
Okay, so it exists only. So a chimerical thing only exists on that Fae level.
Okay.
Some chimera can actually have a mortal seeming, right? So like that little dragon might look like a cat, and so everybody just thinks there's a cat on your shoulder at all times. When the Fae know that it's actually a little dragon, but it might not have a mortal seeming. In which case, it just looks like there's nothing on your shoulder. When any fae can see that there's a dragon on your shoulder at all times, but mortals can't.
Okay.
So yeah. So the chimerical world is basically that layer of the fae magic that you can see.
Okay.
You guys as changelings always see both.
Yeah.
So you can always perceive what mortals see, and you always also see what fae see.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I tell you, this is a total tangent, but my super secret thing that I have to do for every World of Darkness game or White Wolf game is write page numbers for this crap.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Especially as I'm learning, so that I can look up rules a lot faster. So I generally will.
That's
And
super smart.
unlike D&D,
That's why
White Wolf does not do charts. They're not good at
that I'm not whatchamacallit.
Yeah.
Like that's why when I'm sitting here shouting page numbers, it's not because I'm
because they'll be like,
Rain Man.
yeah, like if you want to learn about this, turn to page 147. And you get to 147, it's the beginning of the chapter that talks about that whole thing for the entire chapter and never tells you what the actual rule is. The rule is on page 425. Yeah, they're ridiculous. I love them, but they're ridiculous. Okay, so context, trusted informants who give you useful information for a price. So these are like people that you know of and you're connected to in the mortal world or in the Fey world. Yeah.
Because we are babysitting this freehold, do we get holding as just an auto?
We'll
talk about
I'll hand out holding points, so don't bother trying to put any points in.
Because normally what do we get 5 points in background, 3 points in arts, and 5 in realms.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
And
5, 4, 5, 3.
5.
Yes,
3, 5.
And I'm going to give some free points out in those too.
Yeah.
But holdings is one of those. Usually, so you can either have your own individual one and you can put points in it, or you can pool them with everybody else in the motley, and do that. So you guys are going to have a pooled one. And I'm not going to take those points out of your character creation points.
Okay.
I'm going to
so
give
we get
those to you
one
free.
in holding.
Yeah. If you want to have a freehold of your own that is just yours,
Cool.
then you could
Put
have
points in it.
Yeah, you could put points in that. It is not. I'll tell you right now, it's not mechanically efficient to do that. But it's totally okay if you want to do it just for.
There are levels of whole. So
Yeah.
that would make us have 4 dots in a freehold if we only went with the points you gave us, right? So if for some reason we wanted a bigger one, then somebody would have to put another point.
Yeah.
170.
170.
But a 4-point freehold is you're in charge of unless that means by person.
Yeah.
Because if you have 1 dot in it, you preserve a spark of a freehold that produces 1 point of glamour. 2 dots. There's a thing in here though for freeholds.
Yeah, well, because the other thing is like you can add retinue to it, like people to be there, and then there's like resources not resources. Chimerical items and chimerical companions could be in there. So there are other things that you can add to it, and also treasures. So
our 1 point gives us 1 point of glamour. That's the thing I was talking about. Where there are other things you can do to get glamour back, but otherwise, 1 night in the freehold gives
you 1 point of glamour.
Yeah,
back.
unless you put 2 points in, or unless you put
Right. Yeah.
And the thing about, and I'm not remembering the word.
Yeah.
Forgive me, but there is an easy way to recoup glamour, but it's evil. And
yes,
and and I'm not remembering it.
It's called ravaging.
Ravaging. Yeah.
And you basically it's kind of like sucking the blood out of somebody, as opposed to getting a transfusion.
That was and that was my question to
Yeah.
you earlier, because like taking dreamers doesn't mean you have automatic access to glamour, because you have to do that roll, and then sometimes it can take you a month to get a point of glamour back.
Well, this assumes like having dreamers assumes that you've done the groundwork.
Okay.
And so it takes a month to establish that rapport with a dreamer at
so
first.
if we put the dots into it,
then you already have them.
Cool.
Yeah. If you're trying to develop them in game from somebody you meet, an NPC you meet, then it takes about a month of story time to develop that relationship to the point that you're getting regular glamour from them.
Awesome.
But yeah, if you put points into dreamers right away, then you start with the bond. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So yeah, now I understand what you're saying now. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
No, that's thank you.
Yeah. So okay, so other backgrounds. So dreamers are like these are mortals that you already have a bond with. That as they create and dream and have imagination, like that you have a shared piece of that, and you kind of benefit from that. And we'll go into backgrounds are one of those things I love to really delve into. Like, what exactly do these points mean to you? And like, if you've got points in dreamers, I'm gonna want some story, some details on those dreamers and who they are, what your relationship with them is, how you get glamour from them.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
In that same vein, I wanted to take mentor.
Oh, yeah.
And see if I could do a squire relationship with a knight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just lean into that.
Oh, that's
Is that okay with you? Is that
absolutely? Yeah.
Okay.
And you make them as strong as you want to make them, or
Okay.
as you feel putting the points in them, and then either you can tell me who you want them to be, and I'll work them into the world, or I can come up with them and surprise you, or we can do a hybrid. And
I was going to say I'd like to work with you on something that we can both kind of make not advantageous to the story, but at least interesting to the story. Because I love consequences.
Yeah.
So any chance, I don't want to make someone with 3 points in it, which is what I was thinking about doing. And then it'd be like, oh yeah, all your problems are solved. Have fun.
Right, exactly, yeah, and that's what I don't want either. And it's one of the dangers with mentors is that they're really awesome, but I like to find some story reason why they can't just solve all your problems for you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I love things like that. So absolutely. Okay, so remembrance. This is basically So your Fey soul has been reincarnated, over the centuries, over and over and over again. So remembrance is your ability to sort of tap into those past lives, or even other people's past lives, and basically get insight into what's happening right now. Okay? So Rob, this might be something that your character is really good at. Maybe that's one of the reasons you're such a good detective, is you can kind of go back into past collective memory,
Were you looking at contacts too at all, Rob?
Yeah, I got
contacts.
and
Yeah,
dreamers, actually.
Yeah.
Were the two I went with.
Yeah.
You with what?
Contacts and dreamers.
Nice. I really just want to skip arts. I don't want to look at.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that.
It's a lot.
It's a pain. Yeah. Okay. Resources. That is going to don't put points in resources. You tell me what your work is, what your income is, and I will tell you what your resources points are. So, and they're not going to come out of your 5 points. So unless if you don't like the number that I give you based on what you tell me your occupation is, and then you can add to that to say I have a trust fund, or or I have winnings from this. So
yeah.
So Rob, as a police detective, you would probably have 2 resources.
Okay, that's fine.
Resources of 2. Clara, you're a little different.
I'm looking.
Yeah.
Average certified ethical hacker salary.
I would
Yeah.
say
Also, ethical hacker is a great way to call,
Right?
thing to call
Right.
that.
Yeah.
71,000 per. That seems to be the average.
Yeah. Okay.
But it says it ranges from 24,000 to
I was gonna say
111,000.
Yeah, hello,
Yeah.
not California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can pick. I honestly feel like I vaguely.
Yeah.
My character does not need to worry about it. I think would be
Yeah.
a good way to describe that.
I think so. I think a 3 is good, because it seems to me like you do this for big companies.
Yeah,
and that's more so that it's not like the local businesses around asking you to do this. It's major corporations that do it. You kind of do it freelance, and so I'd say 3. And I'm totally okay with you if you want to buy an extra point in that to have 4. That's okay.
I think I'm okay for now. I don't think it's going to come up very much unless you ever need an explanation as to why my character has the really cool LARP gear.
Yeah. Okay, so Jim says he's a student, but my folks are pretty rich. So I would say 2, and if you want, Jim, you can spend points to get that up to even 4 if you want. So
So he's got like a 3, but if he wants to add
Yeah.
a point in it.
Yeah. All right, I would say 2 free points.
Cool.
He's got 2 free points. Yeah. And if he wants, he can buy more.
He's good with 2.
Yeah. Okay. And what about you? What do you do? How do you make money?
I think she's a competition like surfer.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she works part-time at like a beach harbor bar. So I picture her being okay, but not
Yeah.
not at all wealthy.
Yeah.
So I don't know, 2, 1.
Yeah. I would say maybe 2 because you
Okay.
yeah, like assuming you win a lot of these competitions. I mean, I don't know how much like competitive surfers make, but I know some of them can make quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't know that she.
But
It's like any professional sport.
Yeah,
Like when you break that, you break it. But when you don't,
Yeah.
like it's a lot of my friends who started as professional surfers are now.
Yeah, I put a bunch of
Social
points
media.
in charisma, and I did put a couple points, or I put a point in appearance. So yeah, maybe she's got some. Yes, but in addition to sponsorships, like she gets her face on something in magazines.
You may be more likely, like, tell me if you like or don't like this. It could be that you're more like a model like an athletics model who maybe came from the surfing world.
So like Quicksilver uses you, stuff like that? No, okay.
no.
Yeah, she's more like she's actually got the skill set. Because I figured that because I put most of my points in.
I'm saying that's where the money comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think because putting the points in physical, I think she's just got a lot of natural talent, but she's also got, and I almost didn't put any points in appearance until you said sub.
Oh.
And I'm like, I'm not playing. I'm in an Atom game. I can't be sub.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Could be at least average, if not more.
No, but I hear what you're saying. Yeah. But I think, like, as far as, like, sponsorships, maybe there's, like, that certain something, to your point, that gets her, like, you know, her
like,
face with a bottle of Gatorade or
you
something.
don't make money from being an Olympian. You make money. You make money because you were on the Wheaties box.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I would almost say 1 in resources is your freebie, and then you could buy it up to 2.
Okay.
Or
so 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're also just friends with me.
You could buy it up to more if you want to say like, oh, I have these sponsorships. But it sounds like you don't really have sponsorships, which really just means like surf shop job is your main income, and that's.
No, I think she does have sponsorships. I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't see her as the female equivalent of Kelly Slater or Laird Hamilton or somebody like that. I see her as being.
You do the local ones.
Yeah,
California.
exactly.
Yeah, okay.
You go to Australia or Hawaii.
So and you have to have sponsorships to be able to, because otherwise you're not paying to get in these things. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But
So let's say 2.
Oh, okay. Because otherwise I'm still fine with 1.
Yeah.
It's all good.
This is the thing for me. Like, I always feel like for heroic characters, they don't really give enough points, and so, but I prefer to. Rather than just say randomly, like, oh, you get like 5 more points, I prefer to say, like, oh, there are certain things that are just kind of reasonable given the character that you're creating.
I hear
that,
you.
You know, that are not necessarily, and that's the thing, like, the job that you have and the way you make your income does not necessarily mean that you have sacrificed your ability to do other things, you know? Like, you know,
What?
it's... You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
like that's the kind of thing here is that like determining how much money you make at your job is not usually like I make less money at my job because I spent more time like knowing people, you know, or because I'm better at remembering my past lives. I can't make as much money. Like that doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Well,
So it's one of the. I like to find those. Those are the ones that I find, and I'm like, no, let's use story to determine what these are.
Cool.
Spend your points on things.
I'm just gonna put 1 in it for me because you've got 2. The detective has 2.
Yeah.
I figure that's like $45,000 a year.
Yeah, I think she's just like maybe even crashing on like the but that she
Couch surfing.
she couch
Well, and like
surfs with her surfing.
one is sufficient. You have a working
Yeah.
class residence as long as you're careful with money.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go with the 1.
Moderate is
'Cause
you are
it
a member of the
seems-
middle class and can afford to splurge occasionally.
Yeah.
Comfortable 3 is you are a prominent member of the local community and have a generous line of credit. So
Hey,
you know,
good
so
job.
that's kind of the
Yeah, I
scale.
think
Like my
she's a
character
little
talks to the
like
It's like a hermit.
You
has
get
to
a-
count on the kindness
Yeah.
of strangers.
Right? Yeah.
There's
Did you see
question on the
Jim?
library.
This is a thing we should probably. I know I've referred to my character as she. Jim.
Oh, yeah.
Jim's
Yeah.
character sounds like it's actually she, her also.
Okay.
And then
I toyed with. I don't want to step on any feet or
Yeah.
make a mistake. So no, I'm using she, her for now. I actually think I'm leaning towards probably NB, but
like she, her, they.
she, her, but most yeah, she, her, they.
Okay.
Cool.
I don't think I've ever played a character. That's not true. I don't think I've ever played a character for whom interpersonal relationships, as far as like sexy times, was ever a thing I thought about.
Oh,
So
yeah. Some people don't.
Well, and that's just how I play characters. It's not something I think about, which is
Yeah.
weird.
That you don't think about sexy times?
Well, as a character for any of my game characters, it just never occurs to me. Like it.
Yeah.
Irrelevant
Yeah.
to who I am as a person.
Yeah.
So like I just hadn't thought about it with this
Yeah.
character, but I think it might be nice to just go with they. for
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Okay.
leaning.
So we'll go with they.
So it's they?
I think let's go with she, her, and then they.
She, her, they.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Um.
And he, him.
He, him.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. So so Retinue. So this is kind of like, this is a step above contacts. So those are that's a character that is basically
Awesome.
enchanted to you. It doesn't mean like they're your thrall, they do whatever you want. It doesn't mean that you know, they're an individual person with consent and free will. It's just that they you have shared some of your glamour with them, and they are aware of the Fey world, and they are they're a devoted friend, or you know, or maybe employee. So yeah. So if you have a retinue, it does not mean you have, you know, like a thrall. You know, it's not like a ghoul in Vampire. It's just like you have somebody that's loyal to you, at least, you know, to a certain extent.
Gotcha.
Consider.
Yes, but consider.
Could you?
Title you can take if you want. I'm not really worried about it because that deals with a lot of the court stuff, and it might come up, but I'm not. You don't have to have a title to be important. And, yeah. Were you going to ask something, Gina?
No, I'm going to ask when you're done with the.
Oh, okay. Okay. So let's see. So glamour and willpower both start at 4. So you'll fill in 4 of the circles.
Glamour and will. In addition to anything we got with Wilder or.
Yes, in addition, yeah. So if you already added one for Wilder or Grump, then you add an additional. So those of you who are Grump, you should have 5 willpower starting, and Wilder, you should either have 5 glamour or 5 willpower. Your choice.
My question was going to be: would you be able to go like if you said chimerical items and like some useful benefit as a 2, moderately powerful as a 3, powerful as a 4? Like, what if you just made something up? What would you?
I would.
Or would you prefer? Because I've played games where
Yeah.
they prefer we not do the chimerical stuff, just because it can get.
I don't mind you doing it at all.
Okay.
Yeah. So the companions, it gives you like the number of dots determines how many points you have to distribute into its into its traits. And then, but the chimerical items, you can kind of tell me what it does and run it by me, and then we'll sort of hash it out and negotiate if I think it's too much or too little. So,
I just wanted as Zweihander.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's it.
That's fine.
It's chimerical too.
Yeah.
I put 2 points in it, so
Yeah, so
it's
I would
really
say that's
pointy one.
that's a useful benefit. Is it fights for you? It stabs things.
It's
Yeah.
just stabby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's slashy.
Yeah. So and I would look at the adjectives that they're using here. So like 1 dot is memento or conversation piece or basic. 3 dots is moderately powerful, complex. So that kind of should tell you like kind of the range of what those dots mean.
Yeah, I was just trying to get Because I was even looking at the whole basic crafting, advanced crafting, and sort of trying to figure out what. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to let you guys think on those, all right?
Okay.
And then
Sure.
and then just kind of like catch up with me and talk. We'll talk more about them in Slack.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Just because we've only got about 30 minutes left, and I really want to talk
that.
about health, or about not health, about
Port Estrella.
Port Estrella, our setting, and in our freehold and all that.
Cool.
And I think, and we'll kind of do relationships at the beginning of, or we might actually do them over Slack, and then we'll talk about them at the beginning of the first session, and kind of let the listeners know what are the things we discussed. Mainly just because of time. I actually thought about having 2 session zeros for this. I thought about having a whole
Well, character creation is so
It is.
You know, actually, because I don't want to rush it, and I kind of want to go through the. Yeah.
Do you want to do a Dakuma game or?
I don't know that we'll do Dakuma, but I think let's plan on having another session 0.
Okay.
And we'll have we'll have another session where we actually do. We'll create the freehold together, and we'll create Port Estrella. And
because there's a lot of cool stuff, and then to do bonds and stuff. That way, we could have Jim be at the table.
And that's what I'd like to. Yeah. So all right, so we'll just touch on some of these things, some more of these things.
Thanks.
Because we still got arts. Arts and realms.
We do.
Yeah.
And if we want to look at
All right.
And
So
merits and flaws.
all right. So arts and realms. So arts start on page 197. Okay. So here's the thing. You have arts and you have realms. Arts are the type of magic that you can do. So think of them like in a sense, they're like your cleric domain in D&D terms, right?
Okay.
So it's sort of what is the sort of basic theme of your magic. So autumn is fear, shadows, and decay, whereas summer is energy, passion, and light. Skycraft, weather manipulation and control. Oneromancy is dreams and slumber. Okay, so think of it. So the arts are basically your themes. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm. Where is it?
I will take suggestions.
So I'm gonna tell you a couple of things right now, and Jim is listening in, so he'll be able to make note of these as well.
Picked it. Let's not lie.
And Jim, if you have, I'm about to hand out some freebies. If you've picked things in this, just redistribute those points, okay?
Oh,
so,
cool.
Here is the thing. All right. So everybody, okay. Well, actually, Jim, can you chime in real quick? Did you focus on chicanery?
Oh, the chicanery thing?
Chicanery,
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. He's listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking at Primal and Wayfarer.
Jim, did you focus on chicanery or naming or contract? So,
he said, I did.
He did.
It's like
He's still typing.
chicanery. Because that's
Yeah,
with
that was the one
delay,
you asked,
That's the
yeah.
first one.
So is that like your big thing that you do?
My main focus is chicanery.
Okay, all right. Okay, so that's going to change something I was going to do. Okay, that's fine. That is okay.
Well, he can still get freebie points and then spend extra.
But he doesn't want to give it to us.
Right.
Oh.
If he got
That was the
it.
thing. And I meant to tell you guys about this before in Slack, and I just kind of forgot about it so much. But like chicanery, contract, and what was it? Naming are things that to me are kind of like intrinsic to Fae, and so I was going to give some of those out as freebies. But like Rob said, if Jim focused on chicanery, I don't want to give you guys the thing that Jim's character was going to be the best at.
That makes sense.
So yeah.
I also
he says he also likes ledger domain.
Okay. Well, actually, that was my other option. So I can give everybody some freebies in Leisure Domain, or I can give freebies in Chicanery.
So here's my proposal.
Yeah.
You could give us all that, and
Right.
Jim could just be better at it.
That's what I was going to say. He'll spend more.
Looking at these for my character, I don't think chicanery would be very good for my character at all.
Yeah, and it's not like I'm giving you the whole realm or the whole art. I'm gonna give like a couple of points.
But what I'm saying is like I may only have a point in it because I'm intrinsically
He
fey.
said he's happy to shift to leisure domain, up to you.
Okay.
But otherwise, yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
And to your point, because even,
because being intrinsically fey, I could be better at that.
Yeah.
But being a troll,
we're just not going to put points
Yeah.
in it, and he's going to put extra points and be super uber.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing. So
He's saying contracts is totally clear.
Totally cleared?
Gem. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here's the thing. So contracts. This is my biggest issue with this whole story with this whole setting is that contracts should be like that should just be an automatic. So all of you have what is it? All of you have 3 points in contract.
Oh wow, okay.
All 4 of you.
Holy.
That's just a thing that's part of being a fae. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier about oaths. Yeah. Promises are that is the main way that fae understand the world. So I feel like contracts is very much a thing that like all of you should have that up to that 3 points. Like you know how to make an oath official and magically binding. You know when an oath is broken to you, and you know where the person is that broke it, and you can at least get the minutest revenge. If you want, so casual contract is the like supercharged. That's where it's like, oh yeah, I'll meet you later, and you can take that and turn that into a magically binding oath. You know, that's a big deal. That is a more advanced level of magic. But those first 3 levels of contract to me are like that's just a thing that any of you can do. So the other one is naming. So you all have a fundamental understanding of true names and how they work, right? And is it? I'm trying to remember how many points I wanted to give. Okay, so I think it's just 1 in naming. So everybody gets a free point in naming.
Cool.
There was one of these. I think this is it where.
And then we're gonna skip chicanery or leisure domain, or
We'll just skip those. So if you want them, take them, but they'll be the normal price. So
cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think that's it. There was one. I think it's naming where it's like I was thinking like one of the higher levels should not be like high, or I don't remember which one it was, but there was one art where I'm like, that should not be it. So oh no, that's in realms. Okay. So the arts. So you've got 3 points to put in those.
Yeah.
Not including the free ones that I gave you. To me, those are like meta arts. You know, like naming and oaths.
Okay. Cool.
And again, you can spend freebie points on arts as well if you want more. And I may also deliver some more freebie points individually.
If you have
some
suggestions
more freebie
on art, please. I have no idea what I'm doing here.
For you,
Jim was saying contracts.
There's like an electrical thunder one.
There is.
Yeah.
Is that primal?
Skycraft, yeah.
Okay.
But it has that like electricity that might be good with
that
like
might actually
processing and.
That's a little like you could bend it.
Yeah.
Like doesn't make that make sense.
Yeah, you could also do soothsay, clairvoyance, prophecy, and fate.
Yeah,
really
I
interesting.
like that as more of a like stick in the mud kind of skill.
Just FYI,
naming
when you're sideways, if you talk this way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I would suggest looking at naming and Chronos too. Oneiromancy is awesome. Yeah,
AF.
yeah.
I know.
It's like, yeah. I mean, in a game called Changeling: The Dreaming,
Yeah.
being able to like directly affect dreams actually pretty
Kind of
powerful.
important,
Yeah. Does anybody have have you chosen? Do you know what yours are? What?
Yeah, I'm doing 1 in Suste and 2 in Spring.
Oh, okay. All right. Nice. Spring. Nice. Okay. Like it. Okay.
I think for right now, I'm going 2 Wayfarer, 1 Primal. And then I'm going to add.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, Primal and Wayfarer. That
Cool.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay. And
Okay.
clear.
Tell me if this is something I could do. This seems kind of a stretch. I'm looking at Wayfair
Uh-huh.
because of my job.
Yeah.
How metaphorical can we get with that?
Let me look at
It's
it.
a lot about getting into places and getting out
Right.
of places.
Wayfarer.
But I'm wondering if I can use it for information rather than for
Other-
physical
Uh-huh.
spaces.
Other doc is saying Chronos.
Chronos?
Yeah, Chronos might be really good for you. The other thing that we could do, if you look through all of this and you don't like it, we could create an art for you that is basically like combining Wayfair with
about-
the information with information.
Does
Like
metamorphosis work? Jim is suggesting that.
Isn't that just transmog?
But could that make you...
So Chronos is like looking through time and then eventually being able to affect time or slow time down or see what's about to happen. And Jim's saying maybe metamorphosis.
Also, it could be something completely random and just inform the character later. I'll look through it and we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, and he's reminding us to look at our kiths because there are some bonus stats for some of them.
Yes.
And I can't remember. I gotta go back to mine.
Selkies. Let's see.
104.
You have an affinity for nature. Oh, that's the realms, though.
Yeah. I don't think I have ability stuff, if I can remember right.
Are there...
Yeah.
They
I'm
talk about
redoing my
returns.
character sheet.
They do, yeah. So Sluaw, your affinity is troll affinity is Fey. Sluaw affinity is prop.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I'm still, by the way, looking at Fey and actor as like I really don't like the way they're divided up. I don't know if I have a better idea or not, but anyway.
I was actually thinking about taking actor.
Isn't
Yeah.
actor human Fey as with Fey?
Yes. Yeah.
I like that split.
Yeah, I thought it.
Yeah,
it
I do
worked.
too. My only problem is that with Fae, it's like nobles are higher than commoners. So commoners are 1 point in
Yeah.
Fae, and to affect
Yeah.
nobles, you have to have 2 points in Fae.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like,
I'm cool with that though. If somebody,
It's all right,
it'd
yeah.
be us trying to kind of hold our own against somebody who's
Actually.
Yeah.
who's more noble or
Piskies are actor as well. So yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds like here, it sounds like within Changeling, they lean a lot into the courtly structure, like the
They lean a lot into it,
And
and I'm not as big of a fan. And I'll tell you why. This is my reason why. So I used to love the courtly stuff and think it was really cool. But now I look at it more from a post-colonial perspective, and the westernizing of it all is just like it's just kind of unbearable to me. You know,
can see that.
I love the idea of courtly politics, but it's so rooted in like medieval Western courts as a concept, and I feel like that's such a weird spot for Fae to just sort of get stuck in.
So does it make it mentally a little easier to consider it like humans will always kind of order themselves into hierarchies?
Yeah.
So like it may like even isolationist countries like Japan end up sorting themselves into hierarchies.
Yeah.
So it's not so much a Western concept, but it is. I mean, the language is Western, but also this entire book is Irish, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
They focus very much on the specifically the British Isles. Legends and lore.
Yeah.
And then like it's frustrating because I love that they have the Nunahi in here, but it's also it's so colonialist that they group all of these different Native American languages under one Cherokee word, and like, oh yeah, all the Native American diaspora, all of those different legends, they all go by this one Cherokee word.
Yeah,
it's
a
like,
mess.
no, that's
not the way it works.
That's not the way it works. If you had just not called them all that, it would have been a lot better.
Yep.
But also there's some, it skirts that line between being accurate but also being overly simplistic, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know that it's the same way with like the Asian, the various Asian fae that they did.
Like that,
but I loved. It was called Land of 10 Million Dreams. That was a supplement for like all of the fae of Asia.
Oh, cool.
And like all of Asia, and they did separate them by like these are the Japanese fae, these are the Chinese fae, these are the Korean fae, etc. But at the same time, like it was really awesome. But now as I'm older and I'm more aware of these things, I'm like, I wonder what they screwed up, because I know
100%.
I know what they screwed up about my stuff.
Yeah.
And now you're curious.
So
Yeah.
Anyway, but I like a lot of the courtly stuff, but I kind of look at it as it's additional. It's a thing that's happening. I don't really care to focus on it.
Yeah.
If one of you really wants to dive into it, well, like I'm okay with it. I'm not like, oh my God, I can't believe they did this. It just, to me, it just never it doesn't really ring.
It doesn't resonate.
Yeah, it doesn't
fair.
resonate. Yeah.
That's fair.
So
the only reason I I'm thinking about it is because of the character inspiration I'm using.
Mm-hmm.
Having the mentor, having a squire relationship means that Faye makes a lot more sense, especially if I picked mentor at 3. So it's something that you would look at and consider as like a and
I'm to be honest, like the courtly stuff is going on and it's going to impact the game. So that's totally there's some fun we can have with that.
I don't want like to push you to make you feel like you have to incorporate something that makes you uncomfortable. Or it might venture into being insensitive. It's
not discomfort, it's just
wokeness.
No, just lack of being excited about that
aspect.
That as a focus.
Yeah.
The fact that it's there makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Totally okay with it.
It's a topping, not an ingredient.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So if you want to have connections to that and be played into that, especially with your mentor, and that's a connection that's affecting. Absolutely, that totally works. And I have a really great way to put that in there. And
we'll talk about it, I guess, on the Slack or just after we stop playing.
We
stop recording.
Jim says, I honestly think they planned on doing different supplements for a lot of different cultures, and I think they did too. Yeah, I think that's right. And they got several of them out. They did the Asian, they did the Native American, and they did well, and they also had the like Pacific Islander stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So and they're in the back of the book. Yeah, they're in the back of the book right after the Nunahi.
Excuse me while I change my entire.
Excuse me while.
Yeah.
It's
and and look at it, and if you're like, oh my God, this is good, and I like this, and I want to change, like totally do that. It's totally fine.
Not do it for now.
So okay. So then the realms, okay? So the realms are like the things you can affect with your arts, okay? And this is what 5 of these, and there are 6 total. Right? Okay. So what I'm going to say is that you all have 1 dot of scene and time.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, cool.
So everybody gets a free dot in scene and time.
Okay.
And then you can spread your other 5 out however you want.
Okay.
Okay. So, and this is again, this is sort of my take on White Wolf character creation and how some things should just be kind of givens. And I see what they're doing, but basically, I'm sort of starting you guys out at level 5 in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. So,
okay.
And I might give you guys more arts, but
Shit, I lost the page where the quick guide is.
What is?
Oh, it's 148.
Thank you.
Does affinity work like?
Oh,
specialties work so that if you get 10s or something?
No, affinity. I have to look that up.
Yeah, because I'm trying to find it and I can't find it.
I do not have a searchable PDF.
I do, but it's just giving me everybody's like affinities.
Yeah.
Oh.
I tried to convert mine to being a searchable one, and that actually requires reading through the
Oh, here we go.
thing.
Each kith has an
Yeah.
affinity
Yeah.
for a particular realm. When a member of the kith casts a cantrip involving that realm, the difficulty is lowered by 1.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the whole
Okay.
the
Thank you.
whole squick for me doing any kind of character creation is no matter I don't think I've ever played a game where everything I wanted I had to think about in character creation got used.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just one of those things that there's it's probably a good Friday show topic, but it's just you put so much effort into some of this stuff, and then it's and we never use that.
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
I've had a lot of that, and it's one of the things
Yeah.
I really try to do that, especially in White Wolf, because I'm the same way. White Wolf, I will write pages and pages. I did a mage character once, and he lived out in an RV. I looked up exactly what RV he had, what model and year, and I downloaded photos of that
awesome.
model, and I'm like, okay, here's the equipment that's in this drawer. Here's what's in that drawer. It never got used, but I knew that it was.
But
sorry,
but it helped color that character.
Yeah,
though.
It does.
Yeah, to me it was important to know
for sure.
he's got the crowbar and I know exactly where it is. And that's not the crowbar for fixing the tire. That's the crowbar for fixing problems.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which that's definitely the form my sword takes.
Yeah.
It's a crowbar.
It's a crowbar.
Now. I was choosing between baseball bat and something else, but I like
it's
crowbar.
not like a little multi-tool screwdriver.
Actually, that's probably more realistic, but I like crowbars.
But I like crowbars.
It's my personal life is getting in there. Hold on.
Yeah, and things like that, particular detail, totally okay. You make them look however you want to look.
Yeah.
Carrying around a multi-tool will get you different reactions than carrying around a
100%.
crowbar.
It's probably a multi-tool. Just
so
I'm still.
Yeah, you can do it however you want. I will make you play the consequences.
I love consequences.
Yeah. But if you're only walking into garages, then nobody's gonna care that you got a crowbar. Yeah.
Why do you have a wrench?
Right?
It's like Miss Maisel, where she's just walking around carrying the.
Oh, the
plumber.
the plunger.
The plunger,
yeah.
right? Oh,
Yeah.
that was so good.
I love that plunger.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I don't think we did banality. Your banality is 3.
We did not. Banality is 3.
Banality is 3.
Cool.
So, yeah. Okay.
And we start with 0 nightmare.
Yes, 0 nightmare.
Cool.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
So, then you have your birthrights and frailties. So this is in your particular kith,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
right?
Yeah.
So, which those start
Like
on...
page 106 or something like that.
Say it one more time.
Selkies on 105. I know that.
Okay.
Troll is 112.
Yeah, so Sluwa is
Or
110.
104,
Yeah.
sorry.
Troll is 112.
So my birthrights are Seal Form and Ocean's Grace, and then my frailty is my Selkies coat.
Yeah.
Do we pick one birthright, or it's just
Nope.
that's what we get?
You-
Nope,
Yeah.
you get
Okay.
both of them, or you get whatever are there. So Pisky, so Jim, which he knows this, but so the audience knows. So they have nimble. The slender, agile bodies of Piskies were meant to twist and turn their way out of trouble. Unsurprising that this kith often finds itself in a traveling cirque or as part of some avant-garde group of street performers. Piskies add 1 dot to dexterity, even if that brings that trait above 5.
At
have a birthright section.
Yeah. Blending in, no matter where they go, Piskies always look like they belong. Their skin color, hair, and eye color, facial features, and clothing all appear to belong to the group with which they're traveling. Any changeling or supernatural entities player can roll to see through the illusion. And their frailty is that they have light fingers. Piskies aren't exactly thieves, but somehow items of great value always end up in their pockets. When a Piskie sees something she desires, she can't help but swipe it, often without consciously making the decision to do so, and they have to roll to resist the compulsion. They're not necessarily subtle in their pilfering and may very well be seen stealing, although their nimble birthright makes discovery somewhat less likely. So that's Piskies. So Selkies, you have seal form, which means you can wrap your seal form around you and turn into a seal, or you can take it off and become and be human. You must be wrapped in your seal coat and touching seawater for the form to be able to change into your seal form. So, yeah, and it is important to know that it just says touching seawater. It is, so this is a kind of oath-like thing where it's just as if you're touching it, you can do it. It doesn't. You don't have to be like fully immersed in it.
So you just need a sponge.
Yep.
Well, which is interesting because there's always water around me.
It's fantasy. It's like fake
well,
water. Though.
yeah. Now the water you produce yourself, the water that just comes off of you,
Is
not necessarily. Yeah,
it's chimerical.
Yeah,
That is such a
I would almost say
nasty-
it's like mortal seawater, like real. Not chimerical seawater.
You gotta get that real shit.
That's probably a good distinction, I think, to have.
So, question.
Yeah.
What about brackish water?
Oh yeah, still works if it's
brackish.
I mean, if it's seawater, if it's brackish seawater.
I guess.
You know, if it's brackish freshwater. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Is that that's the point. Yeah. Brackish is like it's somewhere in between.
Oh well, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd have to relook at the literal definition of brackish.
I'm just being a dick.
Stop being a dick.
No.
So, and then your frailty is that your seal coat, if it's destroyed, your face health is destroyed. Which is very difficult to destroy.
Yeah.
But also, if you, I think, it can be taken from you. So, yeah. So,
it doesn't say, but you would
assume.
Yeah. Because that's in all the lore, that's the Selkies' greatest weakness is that it can be taken.
Yeah.
So but that would be a major thing. Like if that were to happen, that would be a huge deal.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen like oh hey, they took your coat today. Oh sorry, you wake up and your coat's
you
gone.
left your purse.
Yeah, right.
The bar.
Yeah. You didn't tell me you took your coat when you left the bar drunk.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But if you sleep with the enemy, that might be on you. So let's see. So Slua, you have Squirm. You can. It's almost impossible to restrain you. You can't change your mass, but you can contort into almost any shape. You can't use it when restrained by cold iron.
Yeah.
Sharpened senses. You reduce difficulty for all perception rolls by 1, and you can see through any illusory magic if you spend a willpower point.
And I can also see ghosts.
And you can see ghosts. Yes, that's true. Yeah.
See dead people.
Yes. And then Curse of Silence is your frailty. No matter how hard you try, Slua cannot speak above a whisper. Even a scream only comes out as a soft sigh. They're very awkward in social situations and must add 2 to the difficulty of any social roles when interacting with anyone other than other Slua.
You don't speak above a whisper?
No, I don't. So for this cast, I'm just going to turn off my microphone the whole time.
Yeah.
It's the ASMR cast.
No, it's actually, we figured out a way around it because I'm not going to fucking ASMR.
Oh, God, no.
this
Fuck
shit.
that.
Yeah. I mean, we might draw on viewers that way. Who knows? But,
right, yeah. But yeah, and also, like, there's a chimerical aspect to this, too. Like people that only know you in the mortal world, they're not going to be like, oh, my God, like, why... what's wrong with your voice?
Yeah.
They're just going to hear you as a soft-spoken person, and and people might be like, could you what? But they're not. It's not going to be like a constant like, oh my God, I can't hear you.
Yeah.
I just keep imagining noir Spider-Man.
Every
time. You're just Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So Titan birthrights for trolls. Titan's power. You grow most in power when you're focused on fulfilling your duties. You gain additional health and strength when you take an oath, and as you take more oaths, you get more strength and more health. Strong of will and body. When a troll is at her duty, nothing can stand in her way. A troll gets an extra 2 dice to rolls to resist being seduced, persuaded, or even magically commanded away from her cause, and you cannot botch athletics or alertness rolls. So
pretty makes sense.
And your frailty is bond of duty. If you break an oath or sworn contract, you start to like sicken and like physically start wasting away until you fulfill the oath.
Awesome. That's going to be real fun for this game.
Yeah, super fun. Yeah,
I'm so
I'm not going to
excited
use
now.
that at all.
It's your game.
No, never.
It's your game. We're just playing in it.
Yeah. This I feel like I made a huge mistake, but I'm into it.
Awesome. That's great.
It's my whole life.
So I was going to say, it sounds like a lot of relationships I know.
Yeah. Okay, birthrights and frailties, and now you have your 15 freebie points. Right? So that's so that's 15 points to put kind of anywhere you want, except there are cost differences. They're not just like points wherever you want. It's
I have the page right
where
now.
did it? Yeah,
As my usual.
I know. I just had it.
I know.
Oh, here it is. Page 144. Okay, so abilities. Abilities are 2 points per dot. Okay, so they're one of the cheapest. Backgrounds are also really cheap. They're 1 point per dot. Backgrounds and willpower, 1 point per dot. I highly recommend spending freebie points in those. And realms and abilities are 2 points per dot, so those are pretty cheap. In the middle, you have glamour, which is 3 points per dot.
So what's good about glamour?
Glamour allows you to anytime you if you have to fuel your magic. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like blood points in vampire.
Gotcha. That's right. We did talk about that.
Mm-hmm. So it's pretty important, but especially the more you want to use your magical abilities, the more you want to use your arts, the more you want to get some more points in glamour. So, and then the most expensive things are arts and attributes. So increasing each of those is 5 points per dot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like if you want 3 more dots in arts, then that's all your freebie points right there just for those 3 dots. So
we have 15 to just spend frickin' wherever we want.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's a lot of choices.
Yeah. So you can kind of put them anywhere. What I like to do is I like to look at like what are the things that I thought it would be really cool to have, but I just couldn't afford them. That's where I like to put them. Yeah.
I'm going to make your life harder then.
Ooh, what's that?
I'm going to start dumping some things into my sword and my mentor. And see what else we can do with it. Although I'm already at 3 for a lot of those.
Yeah. Well, and basically, like if you put more points in your sword, it just becomes a more powerful item. And, you know, and maybe it gains qualities like it can't be taken away from you, or or stuff like that.
That's a fun little ability if it can't.
Right? Yeah.
Did you ever read the Percy Jackson series?
Yeah.
His pen where he can't lose it.
Right? Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I love the Percy Jackson stories.
How many points do I need for that to be a thing?
That is a good point. A good question. I'm glad you asked. Also, if you want, you can look at the merits and flaws. Feel free to take them. Flaws basically get you freebie points.
Okay.
So if you take flaws, you get freebie points in exchange for them, and you can spend them at that same cost. And then merit points you can buy with freebie points, or you can trade them for flaws. So,
okay.
I saw that.
So if you take a 2-point flaw, you can just take a 2-point merit, and it evens out.
Yeah. What's the limit on flaws?
Reason. Like honestly, like if you can find like 20 points of flaws that doesn't break your character and that makes sense and that you can play without being ridiculous. So
sorry.
Why the fuck are we here?
I flipped right to prehensile tongue.
Yeah.
Is it tongue or tail?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Either one.
Yeah. Both have different uses, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Get me some of that tail.
Okay. But having more than about 10 points in flaws is usually a little broken.
Okay.
So if you start getting towards double digits, like let me know.
I mean, I don't think so. I just wanted to.
Yeah.
I live in a world of structure.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
get
lie.
Okay.
I couldn't even get through it without saying that's a lie.
Okay.
Cool. Is there anything along merits or anything in flaws specifically, realizing that you don't know the entire list like the back of your hand, that you just don't want to deal with?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
Not that I can think of anyway. Obviously, like we've talked about how like the court system and the house system is not going to really come into play. Yeah. So if you're like, oh, I have a house rival, that's not a
only if it's her mentor.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. If you want a house rival, it's going to be some like her mentor, but or it could be something that I can throw in there. Like you can say like, oh, I have a house rival, and here's the story behind that. Here's an NPC that you can use to fuck with me. Like that's okay. But don't take it and then think, oh, because I'm not going to use houses, I'm not going to like.
Yeah.
In that vein, can you look at Protege on 183? And tell me how you feel about that. It just sort of falls into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's totally a reasonable merit for you to have. Yeah, especially since you put points in mentor.
Yeah.
God,
I don't know where to put these points.
I know. It's actually like, I feel like if I know the game better, I'd be like, okay, cool, this is the way I want to steer it. Like, I'm putting a lot in background, but I don't know if that's going to be you.
So here's some thoughts from me. So in terms of freebie points, I always say like backgrounds, abilities, and the realms are always really good. So realms are going to greatly expand who or what you're capable of affecting. Right? Okay. So yeah. So like if you have a point in actor, you can basically use your magic on somebody who's a really good friend.
Yeah.
Right? So but you can't use it on that person that you just met on the bus this morning. Correct. Right? So so if you want to be able to use it on a stranger, then you need a couple more points in actor. Yeah. So so I, because realms are really cheap and they greatly expand your abilities, I think they're a great place to put your freebie points. Also, same thing with abilities. They're very cheap and it's a lot of things. And when in doubt, dump points in willpower.
I was gonna say,
I did that.
Because willpower, like having like a 7 or an 8 is really, really useful.
Right where I am.
Yeah, because a lot of things, especially things that challenge you, so things that NPCs are going to try to do to you, are countered by willpower. So the bad guy's difficulty often is your willpower rating.
Oh, okay.
So the higher your willpower, the better you are in almost every circumstance.
Gotcha.
And it gives you more of those points to spend to be like, I have an automatic success.
I feel like Mary Sue.
It's all right.
Oh well. Too late now. I did just realize there's prop under realms. Prop is a thing. I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh yeah.
That should be all of yours.
Excuse me while I throw all of my points back into props.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, and again, we can talk about this. And if you like, if you want to come up with a an informational art, we can do that. You can just put in art TBD and put points in it.
Well, so what I'm thinking about doing instead, so that it doesn't feel like I'm just getting points because I just decided to have an interesting backstory. I want to go through it and see if I can just say like, hey, it turns out one of the reasons that I'm good at my job is because I've managed to figure out how to blend my art, which I've already taken points in, with like props because a foreign props is complex machine.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it may just be etheric programming.
Yeah.
That's cool. Ooh,
maybe that's the reason you are so good. Is that you play in magic, and it's like even the best hacker is going to have some problems dealing with magic. So.
Well, that's the 90% of the reason why when you don't know why your code doesn't work.
Mm-hmm,
I know.
Right? Exactly. Yeah.
You lick it and it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 That totally works.
Okay, cool.
Let's see.
The other thing to think about is like what's cheaper when you start getting XP,
right?
Because it's a different cost
Yeah.
value.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like arts, like 5 points for a dot in arts sounds really expensive, but when you look at the XP cost for arts,
it's
way higher. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's your current rating times 4.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So if you have 2, it's going to cost you 8 to get the next one. And
Right.
then it's going to cost you.
Yeah. So if you have 2 right now, and you want 3, you can spend 5 freebie points right now to get 3, or later you can spend 8 experience points to get that third one. So that's kind of the balance there.
Okay.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I think I want to play with that with like merits and traits and stuff.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's one of the things I find really fun about character creation in White Wolf is like really like playing around with those numbers.
Yeah.
And I'm not generally a crunchy guy, but this is a kind of crunch that my brain can wrap around, and like, oh my god, like this is what I want to be able to do right now, right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And how can I spend that, and what, like, can I wait on that 4th point in firearms to later, so that I can like change into a bat right now? You know?
Yeah.
It's and it's something like there's a lot of versatility when you start playing around with what is the order in which I buy these dots.
Yeah, that seems like planning ahead.
Yeah.
Well, and then starting dots, because like starting dots cost a lot with XP.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So like at least throwing 1 dot in when you've got your
Right. It's true.
Your base, your core stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
It kind of encourages you. This is sort of the general strategy. Is well, for me anyway, is take a point in everything that you want to be able to have. You know, like just have the starting point in everything that you want to have, and then that's that's what I do when I'm filling out a White Wolf character sheet. I will like, here's what I do. Like, I go through the list and I'm like, okay, I want that one, that one, that one, that one, and I fill out like, and then I fill out that first point in every skill and talent and knowledge that I want. Yeah. And then I look, okay, this one I've got 10, this one I've got 3, and this one I've got like 7. So that tells me like this one gets my 13, this one gets my 9, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the strategy that I use.
That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
But, you know, but I mean, there are some people like, this is one of those systems where you can super crunch a lot of the numbers. And it really is like, there are times when it's like, oh, okay, I want to buy this one with my freebie points, not with my character points. Yeah. You know, because it's just going to be easier that way, and the character points need to go into something that's going to be more expensive. So, yeah, it's an interesting play with math. But, cool. Okay, so Nightmare is not something that we start out with. Threshold and Antithesis, we'll talk about those later, and some of the more lore-based stuff. But you should have a basic character. Look through, flesh out things that you want to do, or you know, things that you want more detail on. Finalize some things if you're not sure, and then when we come back for our next session, we'll call it session point. Session
002.
Session 00. Yeah.
I wonder if we'd be able to. Do you think there'd be a chance that we'd be able to finish that stuff and then have a small kicker or something? Then we could call it.
Yeah, we might. Yeah, we could call it session 1. We could do. We might be able to do like world and setting building, and then play a little prelude stuff.
Oh yes, yes.
Because it sounds like we all pretty much have our characters dialed in.
Yeah.
But that way we can do our freehold and our bonds.
Yeah, we might be able to do that. So yeah. So yeah, we'll call it session 1, and maybe we'll see what happens. So, okay, I think we're out of time. Oh, we're way out of time.
Oh shit!
Damn it. Okay, it's 10:17
Well,
already.
we started late.
Yeah.
True.
Balances.
Yeah, we're
That's
only
what we'll
3 hours.
Anyway, I am really excited. I hope the rest of you are as well.
Dude.
So excited.
We'll see what the Clockwise Court is going to become. I have some ideas, and we'll see how they play into that, and how the magic of these 4 amazing Fae are going to change my story. So,
I mean, what?
So yeah. Anyway, thank you for joining us. Tune in 2 weeks from now, and we will we'll do our session 0.5 or session 1 or whatever it is.
1.5.
Right, session and a half. Yeah, we can do it. The schedule is going to go up. Everybody look at the schedule. Producer speech. Do you need to do your producer speech? Oh, thank you, Jim. Thank you for sticking in with us and talking to us on chat. So
but thank you everybody for joining us, and the calendar will go up in a moment, and then just stay tuned for lots of cool shows. So you'll see it on the calendar. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Doing
I still need
zero.
I still need pink. I still need to find D10s. So if anyone has suggestions for,
I have watercolors, all sorts of different kind of
I was gonna say, if anyone has suggestions for paladin style pink, preferably pink D10s, send them, tweet them at me.
There you go.
Because I need to buy more dice.
Always.
Yeah.
All right.
Hopefully you guys can join us in 2 weeks.
Yep.
And we look forward to playing.
Yep.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. This thing is a tone.
If I told you the things I've seen on my ways, if I told you the things I've done in my days, you wouldn't believe me anyway. So it's best I just don't say. I've lived 1,000 lives, I've piloted 1,000 souls, I killed and fought and died just for a single role.